Hey guys, and welcome to Little Blackbird 91. We are talking to you guys about Ready to Love. I feel like I've gone through war, blood, just to get here, fam. The internet was down all around the neighborhood, and then as soon as I get it to go on the phone, suddenly the internet comes back on. I don't know. But we are here. We're here, okay? We're here and we're here to give you guys a review. I'm not going to be alone tonight. I've got a few people coming on who will be coming in on and sharing their particular perspective on the show. And listen, if you want to be part of that as well, if you have a viewpoint that you want to share as well, and you want to join in the conversation, there will be a link down below as well, running across the screen. lbbtalks@gmail.com, okay, so that you can also join the conversation tonight. I know it's a bit late, unfortunately I had a busy weekend, so I couldn't do it for you guys, but listen, I want you guys to join the convo tonight, okay? Join the convo tonight. The email is down below, okay? Listen, we're about to get into it. Listen, this time round I've even got clips. So I want to make sure the conversation is going to flow. I want to make sure the conversation is going to be ripe. I want to be able to provide, a succinct conversation today. And that's what we're going to do each entire live. We're going to do it. I'm going to provide the clips, hopefully, each time around as well, so that you guys can actually see what we're talking about as well. It gets help with the conversation direction as well. So listen, if you're new to the channel, do me a massive favor. Like it, share, subscribe. Click on that bell button for notification of the uploads. We appreciate you guys. Stay locked and stay loaded. For those of you who are returnees, you already know what it is, baby. You got the minerals. Listen, it's been crazy, but we are here. All right, cool. So, I want to quickly break it down before I invite some people to come on and share their pieces. But listen, this episode 1 is crazy. I want to say this as well. Listen, guys, I get to see a few episodes ahead. I'm not going to lie to you. I'm not going to pretend to you I'm a prophet or anything. I can see a few episodes ahead. I don't want to lie to you, okay? I see a few episodes ahead. So, but, my thoughts and my feelings are all in my reviews. That's how I felt at the time when I watched it. So I'll try to keep my opinions to a minimum today. But let me just say this first and foremost. When I was watching it, this season's going to be amazing. I'm going to be real with you, okay? This season's going to be great. I'm going to be honest with you. Because the people that they've got on this season seem to be genuine. Seem to really be ready to have conversations, get down with one another, get to know each other. People have their people that they want to be with, but people are really here for trying to connect, and you can tell when you start watching the rest of the series going onward. So just a heads up for you guys. Well, I can see that I'm going to tell you this now. You're going to enjoy Ready to Love this season so far as well. Genuine conversations, real drama without the extra bits of drama where you're a bit crazy. Real drama that is just normal life drama. Do you know what I mean? So you're going to really enjoy it. So I wanted to say this as an overall. First and foremost, Sean went home this episode. Now, I actually lied to you guys by mistake. I forgot. I thought that they had changed it. I forgot that Sean went. I said to you guys, oh, nobody goes home on the first day. Well, technically it was not true. Well, it is not true. It's a lie. Sean went home. Okay, Sean went home, unfortunately, because he was unfortunately the one that made paperweight. He was one that the ladies didn't necessarily gel with. He was the one that necessarily people weren't really feeling. So yeah, unfortunately he went home, and we're going to discuss a little bit about that as well in terms of why he went home and some of the things that he was doing. I'll be honest with you, for me, he was way too arrogant. He was way too awkward with his arrogance too. So it wasn't even cute. Like, it's not even, arrogance wasn't even like good looking. Like, the arrogance was ugly, because it didn't come off smooth, but we'll discuss all of that. I don't want to go too much in. Let me invite Jay up on as well, and let's get the conversation flow. I don't want to waste much time. We're going to keep it nice and short for you guys. JJ. Oh, we can't hear you, baby.
Yes, I just noticed. Hey, everybody. I hope
me?
you guys was having a good day with all these technical stuff. I was in my technicals too. Don't worry.
Baby, the technicals are mad. I don't know what's going on. But we made it through. So we're here, innit? We're here. But just want to get your overall thoughts on Actually Ready to Love episode 1. What was your overall thoughts of this episode in Miami?
Good looking cast. That was one. Very good looking, like a nice spectrum. episode 1, couldn't really make out anybody who was like a connection. Like we just know they're gonna go rock all the way through. Didn't see that with anybody, so I kind of like that. I like the fact that everybody is actually trying to get to know everybody first before they lock in on anybody. That's a smart idea. Um, there's a few problematic people, of course, so that means it's
Who
going
are
to
you
get
thinking?
spicy. Huh?
Who are you thinking? Who do you think is problematic for you?
Woo, there's a few. Like, of course, Devin is a problem. Y'all know how I feel about people not being honest or whatnot, and he just told a bold face and then try to come back and correct it up and then try to say it's transparency and all this. It's like, no. Okay, so that's one. Sharice, of course, is a problem. Um, Kadian, even though I agree with what she said, and we'll get into it later, she's going to be a problem because the way she did it or whatnot. And there's some undercover problems. Swayze probably be an undercover. I feel like LJ possibly could be an undercover problem. Um, there's a few, so we'll just see how it goes. It's gonna make a good season. It's giving me a little love in hip hop, but we'll see how it continues.
Hey, I'm with you. I'm with you. Listen, I think everyone's saying Devon off the jump as well. Let's talk, audience members. Who do you think is a problem on the show already? Comment in the chat. Who do you think is a problem on the show already? Episode 1 has already gone out. So who do you think is a problem? Who for you was a problem in this first episode? Let us know down below. I'll drop a little vote as well in the chat in a few minutes time as well. But okay, so let's not waste much time. I'm gonna go to our first clip. I'll do it at linear, so we do it from the way the show did it, so that it just makes it a bit more easier as well. But I wanna first say we're gonna talk about Sean, obviously his particular antics, and then we're gonna post this clip for you guys so you can start having a look at what we're talking about.
Handsome, successful, and I haven't been married, but I think finding a partner is something serious. If I'm ever on life support, this person could pull the plug. But when you get in a relationship, how does travel play into that?
I want to hear your opening thoughts on Sean because he got eliminated this particular episode. What's your opening thoughts on Sean and his interactions?
His first, he looks kind of like Ron, so I was just like, oh gosh, here we go. his by his own proclamation, he says that he's a walking red flag. So that means you are a problem, sir. I don't have to mention him because he's gone now, so I don't have to mention him for the rest of the season. But just because you are established 38 and you have your stuff together but not been married or in a relationship doesn't necessarily mean you're a problem. It could just be meaning that you have certain standards that you want or whatnot. But I also feel like with him, his certain standards can be picky. And eventually that is what the problem is. That's why he's a walking red flag. If you don't have this type of status, you don't have this type of look, you don't have this type of thing, because in his mind, I have my stuff together. So you need to come with your stuff together. He also gives me a little manosphere vibe. So that's possibly why he's a walking red flag. So it's just like, I don't know. I don't want to discount his awkwardness because we all have our silly little way of bantering with people. I love, don't take no offense to it, but we call it British humor. I love it. It's kind of, it's a bit dry, straight to the point, but it's blunt, but it's the way they deliver it. And it's just, his delivery is off somewhere. It's not there. I didn't want to discredit him at all because for me, I would have to be around him to see why he's a real turnoff to people. Just him forgetting the name is not a big deal. Trust me, I would have forgot so many names. People would have had nicknames throughout the whole thing. But there's something about him. It's that same thing we had with Walter. Just something about him was off.
Yeah, I definitely hear what you're saying. I think when I watched it, I was like, "What's going on with the way?" I think it's the way that he delivers his lines. It's just a bit. It lacks the je ne sais quoi. It lacks the finesse. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. He is like when girls say, "Listen, that sounds creepy." That's what you imagine. It's like, unfortunately, he just misses the angle, or he just kind of misses the he kind of misses the timing. He misses the timing. You know, like a good comedian, it's the timing. It's the tone of the way he says a joke that makes a joke bank. Two people can say the same joke, but the way that somebody delivers it, you'd be like, oh. Another person be like, whoa. We all cracking up and laughing, you know what I mean? Kevin Hart just needs to he just needs to say one line, I'm laughing at Kevin Hart. Do you know what I mean? He doesn't even make a joke, but it's just the way that he delivers. And I felt that the way he delivers stuff, you're definitely getting a message from a girl saying he's creepy.
Yeah.
Like, that's what I'm getting from him. You know what I mean? Yeah. Hey, Sean, what you saying? You right, bro?
I'm good, man. What's going on? What up, Jay?
What's up, Sean? Kojo, you gotta go get your hat because we're gonna be doing caps all through this. No.
Oh, Lord of mercy. Okay, now, before we do that, then I'll show you the clip that we just watched there, Sean, and you can have your say on this part.
Handsome, successful, and I haven't been married, but I think finding a partner is something serious. If I'm ever on life support, this person could pull the plug. But when you get in a relationship, how does travel play into that?
I got my cap, baby. Listen, you ain't ready for my cap. Shade upon shade, baby. Shade. You can't even see my eyes. That's how shady it is. You can't even see my eyes. That's how shady it is. Turn into Sean, what's your thoughts on our boy here, Sean? What's your thoughts on him?
Why does it always have to be a Sean, huh? Every season there's always gotta
every
be a
season's
Sean.
a Sean. That's so bad.
And they're giving the good people hell. So.
That's
Giving you a bad name, bro.
For all you ladies
He
out
didn't
there,
even
these
make
Seans
it.
ain't right. These Seans ain't right.
Yeah, it was giving full, he was, it's a lot of ego. Kind of full of himself. And it shows when he was conversing with the ladies, it was just not trying to kind of get to know them, but just more so talking about his accomplishments and feeling a little too cocky. So Sean didn't make it.
I hear you, bro. Yeah, he was a little bit unfortunate with the way he was, the way he did everything. There was another clip I want to show you guys about what his second conversation. I'm sure you guys saw this part as well.
Classify your personality. Do people get you?
I think so. Do you?
I think your personality is something to get used to. I'm the same way.
All right.
You know?
Yeah, well, hey, JR. Yes, so obviously he made a joke there. He made a little joke there. I don't know how well it went, AC, where you're right. I don't know how well it went, but that little joke wasn't the best joke, I guess. Maybe just the way that he delivered it, I don't know. But again, Sean, what was your thoughts around that delivery that he had with Old Girl?
Yeah, and I think, again, it was just, I think he overplayed his hand. And then I think she tried to relate to him a little bit and saying, maybe I'm a little bit, I could be a little bit, difficult to get to know too. But he just seemed disinterested. And it seems like he wanted a little bit more of that chase. Because I think he was the one that made the comment about, I'm not going to go after a woman unless she pursues me first, or was that another one of the guys? Because that
was Justice.
That was Justice. Okay. So yeah, with him, that's exactly what I just saw, that he wasn't interested in her, or two, he wanted her to do more of the work, and he was just, very much so full of himself.
Okay, I'm hearing you on that. C-Way and JR, thank you for joining us as well on the panel today. Good to have you guys. I don't know if you guys, did you see the clip? JR, did you see the clip? Fantastic. Let me unmute you. Sorry, my bad. Go for it, bro.
Yeah, I managed to see the clip. Yeah, I think just like you said, delivery is the key when you're trying to be funny, right? And you got to know your audience as well. So I don't think his sense of humor and the timing of these jokes really hit it off at all. Kind of felt quite flat for him, and that's the risk you take, right? You try to be the funny guy, and sometimes you're not so funny, and then you got to come up with a game plan real quick.
I definitely hear that, JR. Thank you, appreciate it. Seaway. Love the hair, by the way. Looking like Beyonce out here. I heard Kellis is looking for you though. But what was your thoughts on Sean and his madness? I guess on this episode.
Yeah, I thought he was a little awkward. I thought that whole conversation with Jay. Is it Jay or Ja? Help me, guys. Jay.
Jamala. Yeah, Jamalia. Yeah.
Yeah, I thought that whole conversation was awkward. I was surprised he went home though. I'm not gonna lie. When he went home, I was like, because he looked like he had a job. At least he looked like he had something going for him. But he seemed very surface. He seemed like, you know, you couldn't like dig deep with him. And when he started with what he said, he's 38, no kids, no nothing. And I'm like, well, that's great. Normally, if you're not like a weirdo, which is like yet to be determined. So I think they must have determined that he was a little off. I don't think we got the full clip. We got the full sense from like the little like 5 seconds we saw of him, but it must be something that they saw that they didn't like, that I don't think it fully came across on the screen. So I don't feel like we got enough of him to understand why he went home, which is the problem with these first day eliminations anyway. Because like it seems like they just picked somebody at random to go home, you know. So
okay, so you're saying someone else could have gone home. Who do you think should have gone home? Who do you think was more worthy of going home than he was? For you,
I thought the Swayze guy was kind of weird. Hold on, let me see.
Swayze, the one that was a fireman.
I'll have to pull up the lineup. The Swayze guy I thought was weird. I mean, I know Devin is cute, but I can't leave a deadbeat on the show. Like that kind of threw me off. I thought the deadbeat would be at least enough to put him in the bottom. You know, not taking care of your kids is kind of. I'm sorry, and Devin was only 32, and people on like this season's cast are like grown.
Yeah.
Like he's like the youngest one on the show. He don't look like it, but he's definitely the youngest one, I think, on the cast.
Yeah, I think he's the youngest of the males. Yeah.
Yeah, but he doesn't come across young though. He comes across like he's had a hard life, and I think that's probably why it's not like obvious. But it definitely like Devin. Yeah, everyone's saying Devin. Yeah, Devin or Swayze. Maybe everyone didn't hear about the deadbeat conversation. Like maybe they didn't spread that. What y'all laughing?
It's the fact that you said that he looks like he's had a hard life.
For
us.
Don't he look like he's been through some things. I don't know if that was that football. You know, football will age you. Football will age you for real. You know, that head trauma. Yeah, something's aging him because he's a strong 32. He's a mature 32. But yeah, Devin or Swayze, for sure. There's probably another one that I can't think of.
I just wanted to run back to that clip real quick too.
Which one? The moist one?
The last one when she was like, "Do people get you?" If you notice there, I don't think he's ever probably been asked that question to even think about it. I think he just thinks his stuff don't stink, and he's like, okay, and you know, people's probably just gone on with it or whatnot, because that really caught him off guard. If you really pay attention to it, he's like, I think so, and so that was like a little jab at his ego for him.
Okay, I'm hearing that. I'll play the kit one more time, and then I can ask you guys one more question, and we'll move on to the next question.
Classify your personality. Do people get you?
I think so. Do you?
I think your personality can get used to. I'm the same way.
All right.
Question as well. Maybe a question to you guys. Aside from Sean, what do you guys think about Jamala? In that particular scene, because I think she was trying to relate to him. I think someone else said that as well. She was trying to relate to him, and I felt that was quite a powerful thing to do. You know what I mean? Like she didn't try to leave him on the ledge. She could have, but she decided to kind of like join him and by jumping off the edge of the cliff as well and say, hey, look, people don't usually get me too. So I don't know how true that is, but she decided to kind of help him out a little bit. Jay, what's your thoughts to Jamala's kind of behavior in that respect then?
I think she was doing a respectable, like, I'll put you in a place right now until I figure you out. I don't want to just write you all the way off, but something about you is not sitting well with me. So I'll just say this nicely. I think yours take some time to get used to. So like moving forward, I think you're nice. She probably thought he was nice looking and stuff or whatever. So it's just more so, let me see over time what this can be. And it was a nice way to do it. It was respectable.
I'm with that. All right, cool. Any other thoughts on that particular scene with Jamala and Sean? Any other thoughts before we move on? No? Cool. Let's move it on then. All right, cool. Since you guys mentioned Swayze as well, we've got Swayze here having a conversation with the group about his age.
You know, grown ass man. That shocked me. I think Shakira is counting out half of the men here. I was always told I was mature for my age.
He would have to be very mature. He
and
would
why
have
I say
to.
that? Because some.
Yeah, I'm so sorry. When he says it sounds like a little. You know, when a little kid is trying to say like, "I'm mature for my age." It's like that. That's what it sounds like. It's like I've had some people tell me I'm mature for my age. It's like, yo, like mature people don't say that. But anyway, let me get you guys' thoughts. What was you guys' thoughts on Swayze? That conversation. It was Swayze. It was Shakira. Shakira. There was Brandy. There was Caden, and also as well Devin in that conversation. It was about age and what a role that age plays, because I think Shakira wanted a man that was slightly older, more seasoned. And I want to ask you guys a question. I mean, is that fair of Shakira to say that? You know, is there benefits for dating someone who's much older? You know what I mean? Like, I mean, does RTL even have a good track record when it comes to women saying, or not even women, just people saying date someone older? You know what I mean? Like, what's your overall thoughts with that particular aspect of things as well? JR, go for me, and let's hear your thoughts.
Okay, I got the impression that Swayze, like, he kind of reminded me of that little kid that was jumping in the room trying to get attention from the adults, you know, because he kept repeating over and over again, like, how he's the younger guy. And then he even put his foot in it, in my opinion, when he started to talk about how he dated an older girl, like when he was much younger. I'm not sure how he thought that was going to endear him, like, to the women there. But I think he, I think that he's definitely one to watch. He definitely seems like he's going to be a problem potentially going forward. So
let me ask you a question, because obviously you laughed and chuckled a little bit there. So let me ask you a question. Swayze saying, you know, look, you're counting out some of the other men out here who are younger, everything like that. You know, is Swayze out of his depth in this environment because the women are slightly older? Is he slightly out of his depth, do you feel like?
Sure, because we saw with Wiley last season, like, age was definitely a factor for him. And I'm not sure how mature Swayze is in order to match up with any of the ladies there. It's still early days. But just from this first episode, I think there is one contestant that felt him, and that was Kayla, I think it was. She voted to keep him on, keep him out of trouble. But if it wasn't for her vote, I don't recall anyone else saying his name to keep him safe. So, yeah, maybe one or two women might vibe with him, but I don't think he's going to be as popular as, say, as some of the others.
Cool. Appreciate it, Sean, what's your thoughts on this? Swayze, 33, one of the young, second youngest, I think, in the pack, amongst an older generation. Shakira is saying she wants an older man to date. What did you glean from that particular scene?
Yeah, he just seemed like it came off like the little kid trying to play with the bigger kids. You know, when you're chasing around your older siblings or cousins, and you just I can play. You know, that's what it seemed like to me, and it didn't seem, and definitely didn't look like it resonated with the ladies. It's not that common. I mean, look, if you're 33 and you want a family, no disrespect to the ladies that are 46, but it's like, if you're really serious, what are you doing? Like, that just is it just seems like you want to have fun. Like, that to me is what, if you're going to be honest, be honest. But if you're seriously looking for for love and you want to have a family and you've waited, and you're stable and you're trying to chase down women that are in their 40s, yeah, no, I'm just not buying it. I'm not buying it at all. Now, if if the man is in his 40s and he's dating a woman in her 40s, yeah, that makes a lot more sense. But if you're sitting up here trying to sell yourself to a woman in her 40s and you're in your 30s, I just feel like it's a little disingenuous.
Okay. I'm hearing that. Fair play. Seaway, what was your thoughts then to our brother Swayze out here in them streets trying to prove his age, get his ID out for Shakira?
I think for Shakira, for her, right, so everyone can have their preference, but I also think this range that Ready to Love has from 30 to 50 kind of brings together people who may be at two stages in their life. But I would say, and I'm going to explain that in a second, but with Shakira, from what I know, it seems like she wants to like be married. She wouldn't mind having kids because she had a kid a while ago. So for her, I think it kind of cuts a lot of your options by just saying, I don't want a younger man, because she may find a younger man who's in his 30s. We're not talking about 20s here. Who doesn't act like Wiley, because I think Wiley's age wasn't the problem. He was immature. He was 30 something going on 22. That's how he acted. I don't think he acted like a typical 32, 33-year-old. So I think he kind of had some emotional immaturity. So for her, with the things that she wants out of life, she wants more kids, she wants to be remarried. If I were her, I wouldn't be coming in a room talking about, I don't want no young dudes, or younger dude, because there could be somebody in her 30s, in his mid 30s, that would be a good fit for her. And there's a lot of old fools out there who really ain't that much more mature themselves. So, you may not want to just cut out your options, but again, she's allowed to have her choice. And so I was kind of put off by her making that statement. And so Swayze's kind of immaturity back kind of was just like, I thought he was trying to keep it light. He was a little off with it, but I also thought that she was, after she put out that kind of statement, and she seemed like she got sensitive kind of back. And I'm just like, well, you don't want to talk about, you don't want no young dude. So I don't know. I just feel like if you dish it, you should be able to take it. But I don't know. I think at 37, a 37-year-old who wants more kids, may not want to cut out, a dude in his mid or early 30s. I think you're selling yourself short. And it's crazy to me how, like, I feel like I'm going to speak on millennials. The parents' generation, like 33, half their kids were in middle school by then, and they had houses and mortgages. I don't know, nowadays 33 is young, but 33 used to be a time where you're expected to be mature and have some common sense. So I don't know when 32, 33 got to be like a child. I don't know. Jesus died at 33. I mean, I'm just saying, like, you're supposed to have some sense at that point. This is getting bad. At 33 is still too young to have sense. I don't know. That's a little scary. So I wouldn't have done that. But I would say on the opposite end, if you're in your 40s, mid 40s, you had kids, or you don't want kids, it would be very silly to date one of the 32 and 33-year-olds, because you guys want two different things out of life. And I feel like that's when it gets awkward with this Ready to Love age range, because a 45-year-old woman who likely doesn't want kids anymore, what is she going to do with a 32-year-old man who wants kids? That's going to, you know what I mean? It doesn't work. It doesn't work. So, but I don't think that young lady fell into that category. So I would have been open-minded if I were her. But
okay, I'll rock to that. Jay, what's your thoughts? Go for it. Thank you, Siwe.
Start off with Shakira. I hope I'm saying her name right. Shakira. First of all, I agree with Seaway. You're cutting your options short, but she's entitled to her preference. Everybody's entitled to their preference. She didn't say it mean or malicious to anybody in the room. She just stated what she wants or whatnot. I do think she misstated it, though. She wants maturity, not really older, because when LJ came around, he's younger than what she wants. I think he's even younger than her. She still had an option he made him an option. And that's what was the difference between Swayze and LJ is the maturity level of how they behave. Now, I do get with Swayze, and Felicia Cooper had put it in the chat, that his job, his profession is very mentally strenuous on him. It's difficult. You're dealing with all kind of stuff from homicide to death and all these other things that you have to deal with on a daily. You want to have a fun, light time when you're off work. That's fine and all, but sometimes you got to know the timing of your jokes. This is the same with Sean. When you are saying jokes and all this stuff, sometimes they're cool. And sometimes you just need to know, okay, this is not the proper time to joke around. We're having serious conversation and all these things. And so maybe I should be a little bit more serious, a little bit more mature in this moment. And that comes with maturity. You know your time and season on when to say and do things. You can't just make all of life a fun time just because I'm outside of work and I don't want to think about all the stresses of work right now. You know, sometimes you get together, you want to have a real serious conversation with people. You want to be talking to intellectuals. And that's what I got from Shakara, is that she might be a sapiosexual. So she wants somebody that she can bounce, you know, have banter with, have a nice, decent communication with, you know, don't want to joke about every single thing that goes around. On the other hand, with Swayze, I feel that he must be interested or must have been interested in Shakara, why he had to fight so hard to prove his point. Like, if she says she likes older guys, fine, count her off. But because you fought so hard in that room to sit there and say, well, I'm younger, I'm this, I'm that, what's the problem? I date older women. What's the problem? That must mean you're interested in her. You're fighting for your place in her life. And you're doing it the wrong way. Your maturity would have let you know, just show her what she's looking for, what she's missing by not choosing you or counting you out, but not plead your case to her. Because that completely turned her off, especially telling a whole story about how you basically got, I don't even want to say the M word, but that at a young age. And with that on top of it, that might even have affected how you think right now. You thinking that at 16, a 28-year-old who basically took advantage of you is a right to say, I like older women. I prefer older women and older women love me. That's not really the case. So he might want to step back and try to see how he's coming across and even know the time and season of telling certain stories in that manner. Like, that shouldn't even been a story where there was an age told. You're potentially putting somebody in jail, which probably should be in jail because they're a pedo. They're doing some pedo stuff. So, you know, yeah, I'll leave it there.
Yeah, he definitely told some story. I was like, bruh, how are you telling the story about a grown-ass woman taking that? I'm just saying, you know, as for me, I would have been quiet. I wouldn't have said nothing. But because he's a young kid, he wanted to tell you the story. Me, I don't come and celebrate those things, boy. I'll just keep it to myself. Offline. You don't say that online. Don't say that in the middle of them. You're trying to prove your maturity by telling that story. That just proves how immature he was, that he didn't even deep what that story was actually about. It's actually a big part. Telling that story is deep. Like, I don't think he actually deeped it. And that's what I'm trying to say. Like, then that just shows your immaturity in that moment as well. Like, you can't even see that what you're saying is off, you know what I mean? So yeah, that was it was interesting from Swayze. Obviously then the conversation shifted that Swayze was a little bit of a player, so I'm gonna ask
tattoos, but he gives player vibes. That's why I want to kind of talk to him a little bit more.
What you do for work?
I'm a marketing executive and I have a talk show on YouTube. It's pretty big, actually.
My question to you guys is, what is the player vibe? What is the player vibe? She said that he gives off a player vibe. So I want to ask you guys a question. What is the player vibe? Audience members, if you want to join in this conversation as well, listen, you can chime in the chat as well. What is the player vibe? When someone says that man or that woman's got a player vibe, what does that actually mean? So I'm going to ask my panelists as well. Seaway, when someone says a player vibe, what do they mean by player vibe? Talk to me.
When I think of player vibe, I think of like those dudes that are always doing all that winking and all that like smooth talking. I also think of dudes that like are very surface, and I feel like that's where Swayze's problem is. I didn't get player vibe from him. I got surface. I got like the inability to really be deep, to have a deep conversation, which it's day one. It's like give him an opportunity, but that's what I think. But the dude who gave the player vibe, I need to pull up the the picture again. I think they're focused on the wrong person. The dude who gave the player vibe was that Justice. That's the player. Yeah, Justice. I didn't get that from Swayze. I got like surface. He don't want to, like Caribbean gal, super flirtatious. Just not conversation that really ain't going nowhere. That's what I got from him. But I think that Justice is the player. That's the one. I'm pretty good at spotting them, and that's the one. Not Mr. Swayze. He just needs to get in touch with some deeper aspects of himself, and and learn not to glorify childhood trauma, because that's what the crap that was. Men, stop doing that. And if you hear your guy friend telling you about some old lady who pulled him in the bathroom and did nasty stuff to him, tell him that was rape. Sorry, Kojo. Tell him it was something. It's not a joke. Shouldn't be glorified.
I know it shouldn't, but you know what? I think us guys will probably just brush it off, depending on what age you were. Now, it depends on what age you were. I think always depends. But his was 16. It's a bit young. That's way young. 16 and 28 is way young. I think I'm conditioned badly. I'm going to be honest with you, because this kind of stuff at 16 would have been celebrating. Would have been like, good on your son. Well done. You know what I mean? Like, brother, you got it in. You know what I'm saying? Like, you're the man. You're the champ. And I feel I got older, I'd have been like, bro, I don't think that's the right thing that's happened to you. But I'd obviously gauge it by how the person reacted. Like, maybe you're a bit.
But the thing is, I think
that's problematic.
That's more barbershop talk. That's for the guys.
Yeah.
That's really what it is. It's not to be brought across to us. Like, you don't tell us that story.
I agree, 100%. I 100% agree. Jay, what was your thoughts then in regards to Swayze? Not even Swayze, but player vibes. When we say someone's got player vibes, what does that mean to you when you hear those words?
It's hard to describe, but you have to watch how they maneuver the room. I'm like with Seaway, where how Justice maneuvered the room. That'll be more player vibe to me. But the problem with tattoos, certain tattoos tell you a thing. When you have those lips on you, those are somebody's lips. Those are somebody that you used to mess with lips. It might be a couple of names on you as well. So, when you start putting lips on you, it might be a couple of names on you. It's kind of rule. It's some rules what having tattoos. So you have to watch that when it comes to tattoos. And now I'm not going to sit there and say some people might just be obsessed with lips and they want to put them on them. But generally, those are somebody that you used to mess with that used to put lips on you. And now you got them permanently tatted on you. Okay. So that's one big turnoff right there. You got to watch that. But I like Seaway. I didn't really totally get it from him. Maybe we didn't see enough of him maneuvering through the room. So maybe there's something else. And some people think player vibes is just people that are open and able to have conversation with everybody, able to just work the room, able to have fun and be light with everybody. Some people just think that's player vibes, and it might be a trigger from their own past. So,
okay, love that. Appreciate it, Jay. Love that, especially with the lips tattoo on you. JR, what's your thoughts? Player vibes. What does that mean to you, man? Player vibes. What does that mean to you? Oh, sorry, I need to unmute you. My bad, bro. Go for it.
Yeah, player vibes to me, especially the way she said it. It came across as like she thinks that he is going to be one of the ones that all the women are going to like. Maybe that's by the way he converses with them. Maybe that's just by his aura, his presence. He's definitely got the look as she described that she thinks is player. Loads of tattoos, dark skin, faded up, shades, some jewelry on. So that might be what floats her boat in particular, but yeah, he might just be a good talker with the ladies. Probably not as good as Justice, but he definitely has said or done something for Kayla to assume that he's a player already. So, in my opinion, yeah, just maybe the way he's conversing with the ladies and going around the room, maybe saying what they want to hear at the right time, and she's latched onto that.
Love that, y'all. Thank you very much. V, welcome to the conversation. Good to have you. It's been a little while, so it's good to see you again. We're just talking about, obviously, the clip with Kayla. Want to know your thoughts. Player vibes. What do you mean? What does that mean when someone says player vibes to you?
Well, the way that Swayze comes off, he comes off like with the young F boy. He even has the haircut, the lips, the whole look. I'm from down here, so it's a dead giveaway. He looks like somebody that's gonna ruin your life real quick. But Justice Justice looks like an older player with benefits. Like he might actually pay something, like, you know, take you out, do all that good stuff. But he's taking out lots of different ladies. It's the way you work a room. It's how you speak. It's how you look. There's there's guys that they just walk in a room and the ladies are just drawn to him. So you know that it's going to be high competition to get to that person, because he's pretty much able to pull everybody in that room. And it's up to you if you want to shoot your shot. If you want to jump in the game, they got to get at them. So, and most ladies don't want to. They think they want a guy that other ladies are attracted to. But if you know he can't walk 2 feet without tripping over a woman, you don't want that. So that's player vibes with me. So
I like that. Thank you very much, V. Appreciate it. Last but not least, Sean, what's your thoughts? Player vibes, what does that mean to you?
So in addition to what everybody else shared, I think, it also comes with that stereotype of the guy that's really physically fit. So like spends all their time in the gym to impress the women, flaunts their body. You could see he had on the hoochie daddy shorts. So he was, trying to get his little attention on. So I guess that was the vibe that Kayla caught. But we're gonna get into her later. But she was throwing out her own vibe. So I think, players know players.
Bars upon bars, players no players. I'm hearing you on that, brother. I'm hearing you on that. All right, next clip we're bringing up now. Since we're talking about Justice and he's come up quite a bit, let's play a little clip a little bit.
When Justice walked through, I was like, okay, it's a party now. He had a swag about him, and he's connecting.
Well, everybody loves Justice. Everybody was thinking Justice is it. Justice is tip top. Justice is the one that everybody wants. I'm going to play one more clip around Justice, and then we'll get talking about it.
You might as well just take my heart and have it now. I myself am a product of a father who just kind of disengaged, but strong women raise Justice.
Justice. If there's any justice in the world, I'll be your lady. Anyway, sorry. Lamar's coming to my head. Okay, so Justice. See where you said he's a bit of a playboy. I'll come to you a little bit later. So let me go to VV. Justice. Playboy or not?
he's definitely a playboy, but that's the one I would shoot my shot at. He looked like he got a good job, benefits, a 401k. And that's what I would go for. For real, I'm not even gonna front. That's the one I would go for, even though I know he looks like he's out there a little bit. But that's the one I would be drawn to. So he's put together. So I see why she said I'll give my heart and all that good stuff. I would with Justice, yes.
Okay, I hear you on that. 401ks out here, baby. JR, what's your thoughts, man? Is Justice a player? Is your player barometer going off?
Oh yeah, definitely. Spider sense is tingling on Justice, man. Like yeah, the girls were ready to give him their hearts already, and he probably ain't even said more than 2 words to them. Had them swooning. So yeah, I definitely think he's gonna he's going to be the main target of the main object of a lot of women's affection this season. It'll be interesting to see how competitive the girls get to vie for his attention. But yeah, he definitely has player vibes. And if he does have the 401k and the career that is quite sought after these days, then yeah, it's a wrap. He's going to be the one.
I like that. Yeah, just as you said that, someone else also said, Justice, well, he's a well-packaged player. Well-packaged player. Okay, cool. I like that. Sean, what's your thoughts on Justice? Is he a player or nah?
Oh, he's most definitely a player, because that line he sold to was that April? Or no, that was I'm jacking all their names up. We got to do a rundown, coach, with the cats, because I can't keep up who's who. Was it April or Dominica? I don't know. The last one we just saw. That I don't know. You know what I'm talking about. But you know, when they bonded over the fact that they both were raised by their mothers. I mean, who says that? Like, I just feel like I call cap. I'm wearing a cap, and I call cap on that line. I feel like, you know, his whole thing, I was raised by strong women, so I know how to appreciate women, you know. And then on the other hand, he was like, I'm just going to lay back and let all the ladies come to me. Yeah, he's just selling, you know. He's just selling and, you know, fishing and seeing who's going to catch. And right now, they're all catching. You know, the only thing I'll give him, I'm just excited to see, you know, us light-skinned brothers getting a little bit of love out here, you know. So, so I can't. I don't know how long it's gonna last, because we definitely see that, you know, when the guys run these games, it always catches up, because the ladies go. Ba, 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 and then they start talking. The Susie tells Keisha, tells Mary
what they do.
Before you know it, it's gonna.
What they do? Oh, okay.
You know, then it's gonna be, you know, it's gonna be a mess.
I appreciate that, Sean. Okay, thank you very much, bro. I definitely hear you on that. Jay, what's your thoughts to to Justice? Player or not?
Oh yeah, he a player for real. Come on now, he know he is. We know he is. His mama know he is at this point right now, and she raised him. You know, first of all, he a first class player. You already know you speak women. Okay, you was raised by women, as you say. You speak women. He gives me that kid that used to be the managed little boy that be all on his mama friends, his auntie friends, all on everybody's leg. You know, trying to get up in somebody's lap, get a hug, and all this stuff. So he definitely a player. He knew what he was wearing. He got the button down with the chest all out, the little chains hanging. He got a nice smile, nicely groomed, and he got conversation. Like, that's the ultimate player. That's the one you got to watch out for, because he will talk you up out your drawers before you even know you was out of them. So he gonna do what he got to do. And on top of it, brother said he is the bee's poop, and all of these heifers is bees. So like, he know where he stands in this. He not worried about competition. He ain't worried about nobody else. All he sees is the finish line, and he's headed towards it. And these women got to chase him. That's where his head is at, and that's where he is at right now. So,
okay, yeah, I'm hearing that. Seaway, Justice.
Okay, so you know what? I would just want to say I appreciate Ready for Love for giving us something this season with the men to look at. Because I was not moved by the bald and bearded. I wasn't moved by whatever was going on last season. So I really do appreciate having Justice on my screen. I think he is a very nice looking dude. You know, he's a very nice looking dude. He's very pleasant to look at. Sean is being extra. He's very, very nice to look at. And if I was 22 and I had time on my hands and hopefully God willing time to spare, he definitely would be the person I would go after as well, because he just does it for me. He really does. But the comment section is ruining it for me once again. calling this man sassy, and now I can't not. Now I'm gonna be looking for his sass.
Is he
every
sassy?
episode.
But
They
is he
keep saying
but
he's sassy? And I
but
lived in
is he
Atlanta.
sassy?
I don't know. I lived in Atlanta. I usually can spot the sass from a mile away. Even like, undercover sass, like the sass that you wouldn't recognize.
Thinking about zest or sass, like zesty.
No, they said sassy, maybe zesty as well.
Because he, Sean gonna hate me on this, but he likes skin, so we be a little.
But I don't think that's the reason why they calling him zesty and sassy. Look, I didn't peep that, so for right now, I'm not gonna let y'all ruin it for me. He's definitely it. I enjoy looking at Mr. Justice, but I'm sorry, if you're really ready for love, you're not gonna waste too much time on him. If you're ready for love, if you're ready to play,
why would we not waste too much time on him?
Because like what Jay said, we're talking about the honey and the bees, and I'm was he the honey and they the bees? He's not serious. He's not serious. He's not serious at all. He's playing. He wants to be. He's doing what's the one who did last season who got in trouble? No, 2 seasons ago. The season with Zadia and them.
Which one?
He wanted everybody to come to him and people that were getting mad. Laverne. He seems like he's gonna do this. Like, I'm gonna sit in the chair and you guys just come to me. Because Laverne was very handsome too, but that gets old. Like women don't want to chase you. There's only so much. Your looks are only gonna go so far if you're not gonna actually try to really go after a woman. If you think everyone's gonna come to you, then that gets old. At least I'm not running after you. I don't care how nice I think Justice looks. So
yeah. Well, I do have a clip here for you guys.
You had a lot of ladies. Wouldn't say I had a lot of ladies. I was like honey, and there was bees around.
Oh, I see it. I see it. I see it now.
I mean,
is it just sitting for you? It was just sitting for you like this?
Yeah, no, it's the eye flutters.
It's the eye flutters.
Wait, let's just see it one more time. Maybe we need to see it one more time just to get full on appreciation for it.
You had a lot of ladies. Wouldn't say I had a lot of ladies. I was like honey, and there was bees around.
And he's sitting like this, and he's doing this.
That is like straight out of a Tyler Perry movie. I'm not gonna lie to you.
Man, I don't know. I must have missed that one. I didn't see that confessional.
That's because you was all confused by the fineness, and it's okay.
I think you threw me off. Yeah, that's a pretty sassy confessional.
Sean is on your neck though. Sean, what are you saying, bro?
No, I ain't saying nothing. You, Kojo, you better come on. Now you got Justin from Married at First Sight, and now you just, you just blowing the doors off the closets now. Come on.
but wait though, Kojo, how you gonna do an interview with this man after we done settled here?
I already done sent my pieces. I've already sent my pieces on the other. I've already sent my pieces on the own network. So to be honest, if it's not coming, it's not coming because I've already sent my pieces. Are probably even worse. But no, when I say obviously sass, the reason why I wasn't even saying sassy. I was saying that there's a lot of feminine in the energy in the fact that he's carrying that. And I was saying that because the way he never had his father figure wasn't around, and then he obviously said how he grew up. So he grew up with strong women. So if you grew up with strong women, that's the only influences you have at that time. You are going to carry some of their traits and some of their dynamics, which is what for me is kind of scary because that when men spend too much time with women just growing up, it's going to tell you the truth. I'm going to tell you this now. It's not a good recipe. Okay, imagine a man that's entitled and then using manipulation at the same time. It's just madness. Okay, a lot of madness will come out from us. He's a princess. You know what I mean? That's how he's gonna behave. He's gonna be a princess. And I'm really not trying to be rude. I'm just saying what I know to do with men and growing up with women. A strong female influence and not having any masculine energy around them. It's very hard. Where else are they going to get influence from? They're not going to get anywhere. You know what I mean? So unless the woman herself carries a lot of masculine energy, that male will pick up a lot of the traits, mannerisms. I pick up traits from you guys. If I spend enough time with you guys, I talk like you guys. I do hand gesticulations, and I'm grown. So imagine a kid being around that, he's going to pick up all the traits. You know what I'm saying? There'll be a whole lot of snapping fingers that might be coming out. You never know. But anyway, let's talk about this real thing now with Justice. Because he mentioned something, I just wanted to get you guys' opinion on this, get you guys' thoughts, see if you clocked anything.
But I'm wondering, did you harbor anything, any resentment, any anger?
I don't really think it was that I was angry at him. It's just that I was a dad already.
This trauma bonding was on my nerves.
I want to ask this question. I said any man that tells you that he's not been affected by a father figure, you need to watch out for them. So, but I want to get your guys' thoughts, right? He says, no, I was cool, because I raised my own child and, I did everything my dad couldn't do. So I want to kind of glean what you guys thought, because obviously that moment was also April was sharing about her father also not being there as well. What was your kind of thoughts to that conversation between Justice and April as well? JR, I'm going to get you jump in first. JR, jump in for me. Tell me what your thoughts are.
Okay, so I kind of thought it was like the trauma bonding thing, right? So it's kind of like sharing the shared experience and trying to bond over that. It's quite common to happen, but usually I would expect that to happen deeper into the getting to know someone, not outright as the first thing that you come out with at a mixer, So I feel that was way too early. And he doesn't even, neither of them know if each other are a safe space yet, You haven't even established that type of link. So, yeah, bit too premature in my opinion. Bit too premature.
I hear that. V, what's your thoughts on that conversation? What did you glean from that situation?
I don't think he's actually attracted to April. I think April came off a certain way when she first walked on the scene or whatever, and I thought she was going to be a force to be reckoned with, but I don't want to steal thunder. But later on, I guess that's not what everybody else got. But I think they were kind of trying to trauma bond the way Walter and Sabrina did. I forgot what season that was. Was that DC? It was that type of situation. So I really don't think he's attracted to her at all.
Fair point. I heard that. Jay, what's your thoughts on this situation? Do you trauma bonding? What did you glean? You know what I'm saying? Did he? Because he's speaking about saying, father wasn't affecting him. You know what I mean? I think that's wild for me to say. You know what I mean? So, but I don't know. What's your thoughts, Jay, on that part?
Cap, you say your father didn't affect you, yet you go and say, I did everything for my daughter that he didn't do. So there's effect there. And it's natural. You're supposed to be affected by that. I mean, we know, you guys know my story or whatever, and we even know your story, Kojo. You had your father there physically, yet was affected by him not being there emotionally.
Emotionally, yeah.
I didn't have my mother there. That affected me and how I raised my daughter. So it has some effect. Now you can sit there and say, yes, it affected me at some point, but at a certain age, when I got to having my kid, I made sure the way it affected me didn't affect the way I raised her. You haven't healed yet, and you haven't went down that lane to heal yet. That's what I got from that. And of course, on the other side, April hasn't either, because you're sitting here trying to relate almost in a trauma bonding. I'm not going to call it trauma bonding, but you're trying to relate to him almost in a trauma bonding way. You're trying to sit there and say, oh, me too. I didn't have a father figure or whatnot. No, for me, I would have been like, oh, you not having that. How did that make you feel? How did that, how did that change your impact on how you raised your child? How did that just grow up? As a child, how did that make you feel growing up around everybody else that has their father? Let's talk about some more, because I know for me, it made me feel this way. And that would have been a better bonding connection for the moment. And just instead of saying, oh yeah, I grew up without a father too. Now we need both of y'all stories. Where are you now? Now you guys both sound unhealed. And that's what I got out of that. It's like, don't connect to, there's a couple of people that did that this first episode, connecting for odd reasons. Connecting because we got children, connecting because we don't have fathers. Like, that's not a way to connect with people, so to speak. and it could be a complication later on, because you both might have the same unresolved issue and it lash out in the same manner because of it. You know, I would want to know, do you have abandonment issues? Do you feel, you know, less than sometimes? What does that make you feel like? I would have probably preferred her asking more of those type questions. But, you know, it's day one. We'll see.
Okay. Yep. Big boy bars. Appreciate that. Thank you, Jay. Sean, what's your thoughts to Justice? You know, not having, he said obviously he wasn't really affected. What's your thoughts to that?
So a couple of things. One just kind of stood out to me in their interaction. One, you know, the first thing that April said, which led me to believe that she's going to be a little bit of a challenge in a relationship, is she was like, if you just let me lead you, you know, and I'm paraphrasing because that was pretty much the language that she used. She's like, if you just let me, I'll lead you. It's like, huh? Lead me where? That reminded me of, was that Dakia last season who was dragging somebody down through the flowers or something? I don't remember. I'm not good with the names of the cast members. I apologize. But somebody was dragging somebody through some garden in one of them episodes of last season's Ready to Love, and it was a red flag then. Or was that Precious that did that? I think it was Precious that dragged somebody through there. So long story short, like whenever I hear that, it's like, that's going to be an issue. And then she asked him, you know, do you feel like you've healed from that? Or are you harboring any resentment? It's like, what? Like what's this word? What road are you looking to go down with this question? It just didn't seem like it was going to give you any substance from a relationship standpoint, but maybe it was part of other questions that got spliced out. But his answer was no better, because to say like, oh no, I wasn't impacted at all, I had great women. How? Like what, bro? Like just normal people that have their both, well, I don't want to say normal, but you know, folks that have both parents in their lives, they run away with everybody got something they could say about their parents. Now, if you didn't have your parent at all, you can't tell me that there was no impact of that. And for you to sit up here and say that you had nothing and that you're all good, that to me tells me you haven't even scratched the surface of what your real issues are. So that was a problem. And then the last part is April talking about, you know, he's all good. I'm ready to give my heart to him in my hands. It's like, come on. You had a singular conversation with this dude. You've seen no substance from him, and yet you're willing to give him your heart because he said a couple of words that tickled your ear. That to me showed not really a whole lot of judgment, and just trying to like grasp on little things that you could pick up somebody at the local bar and have more in common with them than what they had in that conversation. So I just thought that was the basis for nada.
I hear you on that. Big bars. Okay, I appreciate it, guys. Yeah, I appreciate it. Let's move on to the next one. Move to the next one. Here we go. Let's talk about this particular person here.
And baby girl, I hope you got the feeling. Vision's blurred, but all I see is you. And as I'm looking at Shakira in the...
Bro, what you doing? You trying to shift the channel here? What? Ain't no way with that song, bro. Ain't no way.
Yo, I'm sorry, I just had to play it. It wasn't actually the next topic. I just had to play it. I just forgot that I had that clip, that I took it, that one there.
Can you play it again? Don't play it again.
And baby girl, I hope you got the feeling. Vision's blurred, but all I see is you. And as I'm looking at Shakira in the...
Oh, Oh, the rendition is beautiful, baby.
That's what I
I
do.
got the feeling.
Yo, but what's even worse is look like he has some powdered donuts. Mouth was full of powder. Come on now.
Oh, bro.
That's when I knew this season was it. I was like, okay, we got us one. They play too much.
They definitely are, man. I bet someone's in the background saying, "Come on, LJ, go on, give it to him, give it more welly." You know what I mean? But let me leave that alone. My proper next one is this one here.
Well, no, I do. I have one kid.
Wait, huh?
He's
Wait.
10.
Wait, come back again. Wait a minute. Hold on.
We don't see each other often.
The Devon is a liar. He told the people that he didn't have a kid. And he was, oh no, I do have a kid. Moving like Jesse in the Bible with David. Now I want to get you guys' thoughts on Devon and his lying here. You know, can you understand why he lied? Is there no excuse for lying? Should he have been gone for lying? Whatever your thoughts are. What's your thoughts around Devon and the lie that he told? JR, what's your thoughts?
Man, Devin put his foot in it big time. He obviously doesn't seem to have much to talk about positively about the situation. So I'm not sure why. I mean, I know he was getting grilled, but he could have avoided going into too much detail about that because he came out of that looking absolutely low. And even though he got admonished for it, deep down I know, like I can sense that he's not proud of that particular chapter of his life. He didn't go into too much of the details, but from what we know, he's an athlete, and this was not a long standing relationship which conceived this child. So I think he's really put his foot in it, especially if the ladies go and start talking about it. I don't think he's going to last too much longer, to be honest. Wasn't a good start, not at all. And I do detect some zest in him as well, but I'll leave that for another time.
Appreciate it, JR. No worries at all. Another time shall come and you shall talk about the zest. Okay. Siwe, what's your thoughts, man? What's your thoughts on this? Like, you know, to Devon that he lied, you know what I'm saying? Does he have a case in court right now, or would he be going down with the way he just lied right now?
I think the only reason why Devon is still here is because homegirl with the ponytail, she must have didn't tell everybody what he had said, because she was as offended as I would have been. And the other girl, Sharice, was too busy being a pick-Nisha, giving this man a hug. I don't care what they cut and spliced. He literally just said he's a deadbeat with no reason for it. Like, he had no reason. Like, I don't even know if there is a reason, but whatever reason he gave was not sufficient. This man has been lying about not having a kid for a long time. And the only reason why he was like, oh, shoot, I can't lie this time is because he's realizing he's on national TV. So he corrected himself because he's like, no, if I say I don't have a kid, like that's going to haunt me in maybe a couple episodes or when this airs. So I probably shouldn't say that. But I just think being a deadbeat, and his reasoning is because it was a one-night stand, was so sad and unfortunate. And you know, his son is 10, and now these kids be on the internet at 4, so I know his son could see it. And I just, like, I don't know, referring to the child's mother as a one-night stand, even if she was, and he hasn't tried to go to court for this kid. He didn't even say that he was fighting the baby moms for the kid. It just seems like the kid is in Michigan somewhere or wherever the kid is at, and he just doesn't want to be bothered because he has no real relationship with the mother. And a lot of men were like that. And a lot of men, when they have kids with women who they don't respect or they don't have a relationship with them, they feel entitled to divorce themselves from the child. And that's why as women, it's so important for us to protect ourselves and not have kids with these men who don't care about us, because they will treat your child the same way they want to treat you. And I think it's unfortunate, but you know, that's what I see in this instance. And honestly, a man that could be a deadbeat and a man that can lie that he doesn't even have a child should be someone you should literally run from. I am still scarred from these men in Atlanta who literally had a child and told me he didn't have a child. And when I found out that he had a child, that I told him that was the worst thing he could have ever done. If you lie about your own seed, you don't deserve to be walking this earth. You are a tragic individual. So I don't see it for Devin. I thought Devin was cute at first. Sorry, sirens. I thought Devin was cute at first. And then he lied about having a child, and that just went out the window. So he needs to go sit on the bench and heal. For sure.
Well, yeah, I can't be mad at you. I hear what you're saying, Seaway. I hear what you're saying. V, what's your thoughts?
Yes, Devin is definitely a deadbeat, and he's lied so much about this kid that he it just rolls off his tongue. I mean, they showed him being on another reality show, so I'm not even sure why he's on this show, because I don't think he likes these type of ladies. But we're gonna leave that alone. But the fact that that she hugged what's her name, Sharice, hugged him afterwards. That's like that one lady that always backs up the deadbeat, and when he lies to her and tells her that the baby mom won't let her see the kid, and there's all this drama. He just doesn't care, and he hasn't showed up. And there's always some lady that backs up that guy and swears that the baby mother is doing them wrong. So as soon as he would have said that, it would have been over for me. I don't care how cute he is. It would have been over for me. It would have been wrapped.
Be the same people that lay up and have a kid by a deadbeat, then complain that now the dude is a deadbeat to their kid.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
It's like, oh, what a concept.
I hear that. Jay, what's your thoughts of this situation with Devin? He told a lie. He
didn't just tell a lie. He told a bold-faced lie and continued to lie behind it. Like, you said no, then turned around and talked about in your confessional, you want to be transparent or whatnot. Being transparent means I'm taking accountability on my part. You can't even be honest, one. So transparency is going to be a little hard for you because you're not going to be honest about your half up in it. Because all you wanted to do is continue to talk about how the mother is taking the child away from a mother, an unfit mother. But you haven't proven yourself to be a fit father. You know, like you haven't taken none of the steps that you needed to take in 10 years to try to be close to your child. And like everybody said, especially V, like you got so comfortable with this lie that it rolls right off of your tongue with ease that you had to catch yourself in a moment and just say, oh my God, I'm on TV. Hold up. And I told these producers I got a kid because they got a picture of my kid already. Hold on. Hold on. I'm trying to figure out how you got a picture of your kid if she's such a horrible person. If she is all this, she's keeping your kid away from you. Why do you have a picture of your kid? Why, if she's keeping the kid away from you, what is wrong with you? You was an ex-NFL player for your short stint in the league and all this stuff like that. What about you makes it so bad that she wants to keep the kid from you? Or are you just evading having to pay your side of the child support? Like, just do what you got to do, because I don't see nobody that has a son that plays basketball, football, any type of sport, and you have a son. And you were raised in that sport since you were 8 years old, and you have a child, and you don't sit there and say, you know what, I want my son to do the same thing. I don't know one man. I don't even care if he has a regular profession. Most of the time, he wants his child to take over the business some way, somehow. That's your heir. I understand you were ashamed of the act, but the act is done and over with. We have to deal with the child going forward. A lot of us is out here as a one-night stand, as an unwed child, a bastard child up in this world. A lot of us are. That is not an excuse to go ahead and say, I'm not going to take care of this child. The mother's preventing me from taking care of this child because at this point, the law, how the courts work, they're definitely on sides for fathers that want to be there. You can definitely prove your case. If she's an unfit mother, you can sit there and go to court You clearly had the money at some point within the 10 years to go do it. So I don't understand. There's really no excuse.
Yep.
And though I don't like the way that Katie came off, I definitely agree with her on that. Like you X yourself off when as soon as you that no rolled off your mouth, everything after that was BS. If you say, yeah, I got a kid, but the mom, she, you know, it's a hassle getting to see my son and all that, I could see Cherie giving that hug. I can understand that hug she gave him. Like, dang, it's tough out here because, you know, a lot of times baby mamas be acting up and whatever and stuff. But the thing came out your mouth was no. A hard no. So that's really unforgivable for real. I'll land there.
I hear it. Thank you. Sean, what's your thoughts? Devin?
Yeah, I just didn't. He just went from one extreme to the next. So he didn't read his script before he came out and did that scene, you know, with the ladies. Because from not having kids, to then to go to the extreme of she's an unfit mother, to not wanting to take a mother away from the child. So if she's unfit, but then you don't want to have to take a child away from their mother, which one is more important? You know, the health and welfare of the child or what? So it just sounded like he was flim-flamming and fumbling through what he wanted to say because he was so caught up in the fact that, you know, he's got to, you know, tell the story truthfully about this child that he had. And then to, you know, to go back down the line and say like, oh, they met at a local bar where, you know, it's common where NFL players go to. Like, we just this. What does that have to do with you being a dad to a child that, one, you didn't claim, two, you haven't been in their life for the last 10 years, right? So all those details just seem like filler because he was super nervous, right? You know, he's better off just coming, you know, saying, hey, listen, I haven't done the right thing. It's something I have to do some more self-work around, really getting back in my child's life. I didn't make the best decisions. It really wasn't this, you know, the conditions of which I wanted to have a child. It happened. You know, I got to do better. That's it. Move on. You know, my bad, mistake. Really haven't been a father to that child the way I should have been. You know what I mean? So if he wants to catch himself, you know, I really haven't been a father. Do I have a child? Yes. But I haven't been a father to that child. And that's something I got to do better at. Then you're ready to love, because how are you owning decisions? How do you deal with issues? What's going to happen down the line when this relationship may or may not work out the way it's supposed to work? Are you just going to pretend like it didn't exist? Are you going to disappear? You know, you're going to be one of those, you know, those stories. The guy leaves and goes and picks up a pack of milk or a pack of cigarettes and disappears in the night. You know, because that's what it sounds like. That sounds like his MO. You know, he detaches very quickly. Something happens, he can't deal with it. He disconnects and disengages, which is a bad sign for relationships. Sucks completely for the child, you know. Yep. And really, it's going to impact relationships. So to sit up here and think that he's not going to be bad in relationships, any woman that's going to think that, they're misled. You know, and the sister went off. I don't know her name, but you know, I get why she was triggered. I get why, because it's like, you know, that's low character to behave in that manner. So it's my thoughts.
Yeah, I love that, guys. I don't know if I have the clip of her talking to him. I thought I did. I don't think I do. But I was going to play it because then you can discuss what Caden. Actually, I think I can get a clip for you guys. I'll get it up. But we can discuss what Caden did as well, because obviously she obviously then got into the arse of Devon. She made sure that Devon knew, like, yo, brother, the way you moved, I wasn't feeling it. You know what I mean? I'll get a clip up for you guys. But she kind of she put him on blast in front of Charisse. You know what I mean? So I want to kind of get you guys' thoughts. I've got a clip now, so I'm going to play it for you guys and get you guys' thoughts on the conversation, whether this was the right time, was it the right delivery, whether it wasn't, and if so, why?
I think to take
I
a
know.
child away from his biological mother.
If you guys have something legal in place,
But
then,
we don't have anything legal
well,
in
that's
place.
what you need to do. So that's what I'm saying. This is where
sure.
you're lacking. It's not her. You're not talking to him because of you.
Okay. So she went in quite quickly. You get me? V, what's your thoughts, man?
I would have been tempted to do the same thing, but because I don't know that man like that, I wouldn't have did it. I probably would have just quietly slinked off, and yeah, I wouldn't have said anything to him. But he definitely would have been marked off my list. Yeah, he would have been gone for me. But I just wouldn't have approached him like that because I don't know that man. I wouldn't be giving him hugs either. So I would have just walked off.
Yeah, I appreciate that. JR, what's your thoughts on this, man?
Okay. Well, she definitely gave her 2 cents. I could understand her being triggered or having an opinion on it, but I also think she could have. She didn't have to put him on blast like that. I don't think she came out looking good after giving him both barrels. It would have been better if she pulled him aside and in a one-to-one said, look, I really didn't appreciate what I heard from you about your son and blah, 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 blah. But the way she went off, that to me gives me the impression that she may have a problem with being outspoken, easily triggered, and very ready to express her disdain, and possibly even ready to shame if it gets techie like that, you know. So I don't think I was impressed by what she did at that time. She could have pulled him to the side and said it in his ear quietly, away from everybody else. But it wouldn't surprise me if she then goes back to the group and over time starts to tell his business, you know. So yeah, that's my take.
Okay, love that. Appreciate that. Sean, what's your take on the Caden dress down of the Caden dress down of Devon? What did you glean from that? What did you understand?
I mean, as I was saying earlier, like I understand the energy, you know, and why this might be triggering for her hearing it. You know, I'm not sure if she's a mom. I don't know if, you know, she's had friends or family members that have had similar experiences. So I get the triggers, but I really don't think in your first instance of meeting somebody on a dating show, you're going to start to tell them how they should navigate their situation with their child, right? Because in all honesty, look, if this brother ain't done this in 10 years, you think you in your little 5 seconds, 5 minutes of meeting him is going to make an impact, right? You know, so it's like for me, I'm not wasting my energy on, you know, on someone in that capacity. And two, I don't think we have the context of the relationship to be able to talk like that in such a short window, right? So again, I do understand 100% of where she's coming from, because we all talked about it, right? Like we don't agree with it. We think it's wrong. If he were somebody in our lives, we would definitely tell him different. But to sit there and get on her little soapbox and start to dress him down and tell him what he should do and what he needs to do and how he needs to do it, that energy for somebody you just met, ma'am, ain't no way. Ain't no way somebody that you just met gonna get all that energy. And look, if it's me, I mean, she's lucky. He seems like a pretty soft-spoken, kind of nice kind of guy. Because I'm just saying, me, if I got to that dark place where I'm gonna disconnect from my child for 10 years, and you gonna sit up here and tell me what to do, ma'am, have a seat. You know, just have a seat. You don't know my situation. You don't know what I've been through. It wouldn't have even been no explanations. Ma'am, have a seat. Thank you for sharing. Good night. But he handled it well for me, but it couldn't have been me. But again, I understand where the energy is coming from, but it's wasted, it's unnecessary, and especially when you have no context in a relationship with somebody.
I hear you 100%. I hear you 100%. Go for it. Are you saying something, JL?
No, I was going to agree with Sean. I think that's exactly the problem. It's not really the fact that she was triggered by it, but that kind of outburst so early into knowing someone, and you never know, he may have the deciding vote on whether she stays or goes at some point, and he probably isn't going to choose her to stay if she keeps up that type of energy towards him, you know, or he may remember the incident. So you don't know how petty he is. That's the whole point. It's still early. You don't know each other. You're just figuring each other out. So yeah, I can understand if she may know people in a similar situation, or she may have had a negative experience herself and it triggered her. But there's a time and a place, and I don't think the time to berate him was in front of everybody so early in the competition.
Love that. Anyone else have thoughts on this? On Kaden talking? Go for it.
Yeah, I haven't said anything really. I agree with everybody that says she's triggered. Definitely triggered. Gave me personal triggered. Like she's a product of this type of situation. Probably a product of a dad that just kind of abandoned or left the family or whatever, or even a mom. Yet there's a time and a season. There's a time and a tone. There's a way that you can address people. Even in that moment, you could have said what you needed to say, but address it a little bit better. You know, I was going through different styles of how you could have said it, because I know I can be harsh, especially with my friends. That would have been the way I talk to my friends, because this would have been, I've heard this so many times, but yet you haven't done nothing yet. Stop talking about it or make a move. That was that delivery. And that's reserved for my friends. And I know everybody don't think and act the way I do. However, you don't know this person from Adam. And so that leads me to believe that when you do know somebody, you got somebody that you care about, somebody you supposedly love, how harsh and brash are you going to be with that person? How off-putting are you going to make those people? How unsafe you're going to make those people feel to tell you anything? People outside seeing this, I'm not even worried about the people on the show, but the people outside seeing this, looking at it, is going to be like, no, I'll never tell her nothing. Because she's going to give me a harsh judgment off the bat. You didn't even create a safe space. Granted, he didn't create a safe space for himself for telling a lie, but there is still no safe space there for that kind of judgment on him. And this is why most men stop telling us things. Because we go right into that immediate, like, well, it's you. And I get where she came from, because most of his blame was on the mother. So I get that. It's like, stop talking about the mom. What are you doing for your child? And I think my last final thing was how she could have came across was direct all of the energy to how do you make the child feel by not doing what you need to do as a father. Think about your child in this, how you would be. Were you raised by your dad? Do you have a connection with your dad? You know what I'm saying? Despite that you wasn't married, despite it's a one-night stand, if you had a connection with your dad, how did that make you feel? Now think about your child. How does that make them feel? Start making him do inner reflection of himself instead of making him feel more ashamed of the situation in the first place. Because that, like Sean said, you making him feel more ashamed, he's not going to move no more. He's just going to keep digging himself in a deeper hole, and he's going to stay stuck. If you really want to help this man get out this hole, and you got the best intentions, which clearly you don't, but if you have the best intentions of him, help him get out the situation. Get a man a solution. Or help him find his solution within himself. But that approach right there is not good. And we can see later on why she's going to be an issue, as we've seen in some of the clips coming ahead.
Cheers, Jay, for that. Yep, thank you very much.
Also,
yeah, go for it, Joe.
Also, you could tell that he wasn't comfortable talking about the situation. He was gesturing and scratching and hugging himself, and he was not It wasn't like he was saying, "Look, man, I had this one night stand and bow," and no, he wasn't coming at it like that. He really seemed like he was. I don't want to say ashamed, but it just wasn't a comfortable topic that I felt he wanted to bring up at that time. But because the Pandora's box had opened, he had to pretty much come out with the story. It wasn't forced, but I felt like he just wasn't comfortable talking about it. If he could do it over, I don't think he would have mentioned that at all.
Okay, I'm hearing you on that, sir. I'm hoping that. Yeah, go for it, Sean.
Yeah, and I've been seeing some of the comments, which are pretty cool. Like Aries was saying, like, just you take the information in and then you move on. Because in this type of environment, this isn't a setting where you're there to hold people accountable in that short period of time in this type of instance, right? This is something that's from their past. And I think sometimes we get misdirected in this accountability thing, or I have to call somebody out, right? So people think it's their job to do that, right? But it's got to be time and season, and it's going to be, is the information you're giving going to be helpful and useful for that person, or do you just feel vindicated because you've offloaded on them, right? So I just feel like, yeah, you could disagree with it, and from straight off the top, I don't have a problem with her thought process and everything that she surmised from the way that what he was doing. But getting into that kind of tete-a-tete with somebody, or you're going to tell them what they should do, for me, that doesn't show effective conflict resolution. It doesn't show emotional maturity. It doesn't show good communication, because it's not, you're not going to get anything out of that. The person that on the other end gets nothing out of it, and what are you getting out of that? So that's my issue with the whole thing, and this notion of it's our jobs to hold people accountable to a certain extent.
Can I just, I've been quiet, but I just have to disagree with, I don't disagree with the spirit of what everyone is saying, but I'm sorry. If a deadbeat comes to me with his sob story, which that's what he did, he offloaded his sob story on them and pretended as if his child's mother is the reason why he hasn't seen his 10-year-old. I may not have said it just like her, but I'm a Sag and I don't have no tact when I hear foolishness. And I definitely would have let him know that if you're going to come to me with your sob story, then I'm going to let you know that this sounds foolish. Also, I think some people, including myself, don't find it in them to be tactful and sympathetic to a person who's clearly not being tactful and sympathetic to their child. He has a 10-year-old that he's shown likely no love, no sympathy, no empathy, but we're supposed to have sympathy and empathy and tact for a 32-year-old. I'm not even saying she should say it because it's going to make a difference, because I can tell y'all right now, if he hasn't been inspired to go see his 10-year-old, nothing that she says is going to inspire him to do that. And nothing a stranger says is going to inspire him to do that. I agree. I agree with that. If the goal is change, that is no way to get change. I agree with you. But if you come to me with the BS, if you come to me with the story, I'm going to respond and let you know that what you said sounds like a whole bunch of nonsense and nothingness, and then I will walk away. But I don't think I would have much tact. So y'all would have to charge me with that as well. Because if I hear a deadbeat story, I can't promise you what I'm going to say, because my respect for that person goes out the window when I deem you a deadbeat. So my respect that I would have wouldn't be there. So yeah, I mean, she probably should have walked away, but he started it to me with that story.
See, wait, don't let them winterettes come after you, because they be sensitive about how your tone is, boo. You know what I'm saying? Like,
my tone wouldn't be right. I'm not gonna lie to you.
I know you don't watch the other show, but somebody spoke in that tone when they had that same little disagreement, and everybody is after that person for having that tone. But it's oddly enough, because it's going at a man, that it's okay that this tone is the same. And that's the thing. Like, if you're gonna have it for one person, keep it all the way across the board. And I don't mind that or whatnot. And like I said, I don't mind what she said. It was her tone, a bit of it. It was a bit harsh or whatever. And I'm not going to say I disagree with the harshness, because after a while sitting there, like I said, sitting there listening to somebody keep going on and on about some foolishness, as you say. Okay, child, I'm tired of it. But I also would have just
he came to her.
Mm-hmm.
Now she was going around telling people what to do with their lives on day one. I would say, sis, it's not the place. But he really thought that these two women were going to be a soft landing space for his nonsense, because he's a nice looking man that has probably told this, when he does admit that he has kids, has probably told this "my baby mama is the devil" story, and all the women do like Sharice or whatever her name is and give this man a hug. He wasn't ready for the person to say, you know what, actually everything that came out your mouth was disgraceful, you're disgraceful, and you're a deadbeat. He didn't want it. That probably was not what he was ready to hear. And that's probably what he needed to hear. So he'll think twice before he goes to another set of women with his sob story. Because that's what I felt.
But for 10 years, he hasn't been going to nobody with this story, clearly, because of that reason. He already feels shame.
Maybe he's just been lying. Maybe he's just been lying. Or forgetting. Someone said he forgot he had a kid. He could have just forgot at this point. You don't spend any time with the kid. You probably did forget you had a kid.
Child, you might forget a one night stand, but you ain't gonna forget a product of it. Knock that off. Knock it off. If you get an STD from that one night stand, you're not gonna forget that you got that STD.
No, I would say he lied. He knew he lied. He knew he lied. But it's so easy for us to correct women's tone and tenor, when really the only thing that really needs to be corrected is that this man is lying about having a child. Because I promise you, if somebody says, oh, I just murdered somebody or unalive somebody, y'all wouldn't be talking about the tone of what the response was. And to me, not taking care of a child that you brought into this world is on that level. I put deadbeats on that level. Willing deadbeats. Because you brought a life into this world that you're not worrying about if they're being taken care of, because you're depending on a woman that you said is unfit.
See, wait. Just for your life safety, before you tell the person that's unaliving people about themselves, make sure you at a safe destination and far away from them. I don't need you to tell them right there, because I watched too many of these movies. They definitely gonna unalive you next. Okay, don't judge.
But I mean, the same judgment though you would have for that person, people should have for these deadbeats. That's all I'm saying.
Definitely.
And I'm glad that she has that level of kind of criticism for him, and that's all I got about him.
So I don't have a problem with telling the truth. I'm going to ask a question to the men. This is just a lesson. Mandem, if you saw a girl addressing a man like that, what's your thought of the lady who was dressing him that way? Sorry, Jay, let me unearth you.
Simple. I'm not going anywhere near her because she seems too judgmental and she's overstepping her boundaries. See, the thing is, right, everybody has a past and he's not proud of his past. And what she did was pretty much shame him for his past. It's none of her business. She can have an opinion on it. But to go as far as she did, and yes, her tone, because that's also part of self-awareness. If you see that someone's uncomfortable disclosing something, you don't stand there and go over there and start, shouting in their face and or even being too overbearing in what you think. Listen to the person, listen to the reasons, and then you know what you do? When it comes to voting time, then you can let the information you've heard play a role in the decision you want to make with that person. But if I was at the pool and I saw her and Sharice and Devin having that conversation, and I saw the lady go off, I'd be like, yeah, I don't need that energy around me. Because I don't think she's weighing up the passion and the intensity that she's put into lambasting him, and how she's also going to come across to the other guys that she might encounter. What are you there to do? Are you there to police other people's lives? Or are you there to try and find a mate for yourself? Because by chastising him on what his past was 10 years ago or whenever, or to this present day still carrying on, But at the end of the day, you're there to be chosen by the other guys if you're not feeling him. And you're trying to build up a mutual compatibility with the guys there. So you don't want to do something detrimental to that process. Focus on the process, the goal, which is to try and find a partner. You're not going to find one if you're standing over people lecturing them and telling them what they should do with their lives in their situation. And I'm quite sure that if the roles were reversed and it was a guy telling her what to do, she wouldn't like it. She doesn't strike me as the type of person that's going to sit back and receive the information and not verbalize that it's none of his business. So yeah, that's my take.
Sean?
Can I ask a question before Sean goes? I just have a quick question. How is a kid his past? This is a present ongoing issue. I just want to clarify that, because this is not like he went to jail for armed robbery in 2002. This is like he's a present deadbeat, which I feel is very current.
Okay. All right. So you're right in a sense. It is an ongoing situation, and any potential partner that he meets will have to learn about that situation, whether if they decide to choose him as a boyfriend or go forward with him. They would have to take that situation into consideration. She's not at that stage. So it's a common situation, unfortunately, where people don't always have children with the person they expect to be with long term. And the situation can get messy, and for some, there may be some shame in it. But until she's ready to make a decision whether she's going to move forward in a relationship with him of some kind, it's not her business. She obviously knows the situation's not a good one for her, so she can bow out kindly and put him in the bottom two. But for her to stand there and try and lecture, no, because no one's perfect. And like I said, she may have kids of her own, or she may have things that have happened in her past that she may not be too proud of. If she shares that with someone, I don't think the right response would be for them to say, oh, well, this is what you did. This is what you did. Because it's just going to create a toxic environment.
Mm-hmm. Sean, what's your thoughts? Thank you, Joe.
Yeah, no, I've said from the beginning, right? And I think it's just, to make the distinction, I understand and agree completely with her thought process, her frustration, the thoughts that she had about the situation with Devin and his child. So it's not even about that. I'm just saying, I don't think if in meeting somebody within the first 5 minutes, should you go in like that? And that's my opinion. I mean, listen, people can disagree, but I just think there's no reason. And for me, and if I was another guy in that mixer and I'm seeing her go in on another guy like that, it's going to be a turnoff, because you have no relationship with this person. It's not even like you've dated for, 5 months, 5 weeks, and so he did something wrong and now you're reacting to that. You just met him. He shared something that's wrong, 100%. But for you to go off on somebody like that, for me, it's not a characteristic trait I would want in a woman that I'm dating. Because I don't want you to do that to me. If I do something wrong, or if there's something that I do that you don't like, I don't want to be yelled at. And I think that's something that we have to kind of like dig into, this notion of it's okay to yell at anybody. Just like if you do something wrong to me, and as a man, I shouldn't be yelling at a woman, and I shouldn't be preaching at you and telling you what you should do and dressing you up and down. I don't think people should be talking to each other like that. Right? Mm-hmm. Does that mean people get upset and it happens? Yes. Does it happen? But I don't like it. And it's not something I want in my relationship. I want somebody that knows how to effectively resolve conflict. And in meeting somebody for the first 5 minutes, you've assessed their character and you've seen this is a no. Why are you wasting your energy going in on them? It's too much. It's too much invested in somebody that you don't know. So for me, it's a red flag, because I'm thinking we get down the line and now you're really invested. For me, there's nothing to do with your tone. It's how you handle conflict. right? So if I do something I don't like that you don't like, I'm thinking, how are you going to react? How are you going to address me? And if it's something you deem that is totally wrong, for you to go all off, yeah, for me, it's not, and it's not about yelling. It's about the way she handled the situation. It's too much energy. I want to protect my peace, right? So I know exactly what's good for me. And for me, I don't need all of that energy. I don't. So whether it's yelling or not yelling, potato, I don't like the way that she went off on him in that conversation or that interaction.
So I also want to add as well. So I know a lot of the audience, I know they have their opinion, and I think I want to first validate what the ladies are saying. We all agree what she said was truthful. Have you noticed the men have not said what she said is not truthful? Right? So we're not saying she's not being truthful what she said. What we're saying is, number one, you don't actually have the right to tell somebody that in that moment, right? You didn't have the relationship. So if we're watching from the outside in, as men, that's why I asked the men, how would you feel if you watched that from outside in? What would be your reaction if you're dating that person? What people are getting focused on is we're trying to make it as if she was wrong for what she said. Not for what she said, how she said it, number one, and the time and the season of when she said it. If I'm a man watching you do that, I'm thinking when I'm with you, you will also have no decorum, no timing and no season, and you'll do that when it doesn't need to be done. You do that with my boss. You do that with my boss at a work meeting. You have no shame. You do that with my work person. Well, he deserved it. And I was right, wasn't I? That's what you guys are actually saying in the comment section, where you're not actually really deeping, where as men, where we're thinking about the long term, thinking about where it's going to go to next. All you're hearing is she's right. But right doesn't, I always say to my friend, you can be right, but what you say doesn't make you right anymore. How you say it can make you wrong. If she can do that to him in that moment, trust and believe, if I take you in front of my boss and my work, if you disagree with what they've said, if they've been sexist, let's say they've been sexist in that moment, instead of using tact, using your brain, using emotional intelligence in that moment, say, maybe I shouldn't address it in this moment. Maybe there's a better way to address the situation. You will just lambast there and then, because you feel when you're right, you can say whatever you want to say. And that's not how the game works. So automatically, when I see that, I counsel you. And do you see how different it is? I don't come over there and go, I don't like what you just did. I go, let's just cancel her, boys. Boys, let's get out of here. Do you see what she did? Let's cancel her. Get out of there. That's what she should have done. She should have just zipped her mouth, kept quiet, and said, okay, is that what he's doing? Let me get out of there. Because you're on a dating show. Context of what you're doing. You're not his work colleague. This is not a conversation between you and your work colleague. This is a dating show where other men are also observing your behavior. So at that point, if you don't be careful how you move, you've now lost out other men, right? And the same goes for women. To pretend as if women don't observe what men do, when women are penalizing men for, I saw you talk to her and her and her. You're just charming everybody, aren't you? Well, why are you getting vexed about it? Because you saw him moving to all the other girls. You were also observing. You observe behavior and then you judge by it. So it's not what she said is wrong. Number one, the timing was wrong, right? You don't have the relationship, number two. And actually, it shows entitlement that in that moment, you couldn't hold, and you had to tell him how you felt in that moment. That means you're probably going to repeat that later on in the series of events. You're going to do that with me somewhere else. So for us as men, what we're saying is not that she's wrong. So if you're stuck on the part where you're saying, why are we judging her? You've completely missed it. It's not about that. It's about how we look at it going down the line. We're going to observe that and ask ourselves a question. Will you do that to me later on? Will you also embarrass me the same way? Will you say that in a public space and forum? Because it wasn't a public space and forum. You felt no way. So why would I be any different to you if you can do that here? You know what I mean? So that's how we're reading it. I do understand what the ladies are saying, and I agree. What she said was right? But if you want to be in a dating world, you can't say everything that you feel in that moment. You have to choose your timings absolutely correctly, right? It's just, it is what it is, unfortunately, and that's how life is. But see, I know we've been talking. I don't know if you have a counter, and that's fair enough. We'd also love to hear the counter. V, if you have a counter as well, we'd love to hear that. Or if you agree, whichever. Jay, if you have a counter or you agree, love to hear that as well. It's good to have different conversations.
I understand what you're saying, and you know, I live my life trying to have tact, and there's a lot of things I want to say I don't say. But I just fundamentally disagree with the fact that what she said in the time, place, and manner in which she said it was inappropriate. I understand that some people think that you have to have a relationship to correct people, and maybe that's why us as a society has gone so left, because people don't feel like they have a place where they can say anything. But to me, she didn't make a scene. She didn't go around telling anybody who would listen, at least from what we could see, about what he did. Frankly, I don't think she told anybody because he's still on the show. So she was in a small setting. He brought to her some bull crap and she responded. I personally don't feel like you need to have a great personal relationship with someone to speak on wrongs. And if I was a man, I would be, because this is me, I live by morals and lines, and like for me, I would want a woman to not to say what she feels about something of that nature. For me, I wouldn't want a woman going on doing this rah-rah, acting overly invested in a man that she just barely even knows his name. Or if she was walking around the pool and talking about him and whatever, I wouldn't have liked that as a man, I don't think. And I think a lot of ways of me, I kind of think like a man in many ways. So I feel like I can get in both sides. But for me, I don't think that she is the person that you guys are describing. She to me, now she could be later on, we could see that she is that person, and maybe you guys have more insight about her personality than I can see from this clip. But from this clip, she seems like a person who spoke truth to power and let a deadbeat know that he was a deadbeat in a very small, intimate setting where he decided to share something and he got a response he didn't like. Like Charlemagne, who I always quote all the time, you can't say things, everything you put out in the universe, you can't control the reaction. He literally put bullcrap in the universe, and she as a woman was supposed to just walk away and check the box and whatever. I don't feel like that's the reaction she had to do. She wasn't yelling and waving her hands and being inappropriate. She told him in a very reasonable tone, in a reasonable level, and maybe the words she said was nasty, but that you're a trifling individual, and that's her opinion. So if you guys don't
hold on, pause. Seaway, shut up.
Yeah, that's still bad.
No, Seaway, shut up. Don't feel the way about the way I said it. Shut up.
But if I said
I don't care, Seaway. It's my opinion.
No, if you told me to shut up, but before I called you all out your names.
Why is it when I flipped it to you and I said to you, shut up, keep quiet now. If I do that, you don't get to say it's my opinion. You don't get to tell me the way I address it, it's my opinion. If I felt that way about it, then whoa. Right? And I know what the chat's going to do. They're going to go, it's not the same example. It's not the same example. What I'm saying to you is, though, my tone, my words, what I use to address a situation, if I feel I'm right about something, I do not get to speak anyhow, anyway, at any given time. I don't. Right? And that is what we're talking about, entitlement and a selfishness when people talk, when they can only think about themselves. You're saying it's an opinion. And I'm saying to you, well, then shut up then. Because that's my opinion. That's how I feel about the situation. But how quickly I would be labeled, and even if I was right, let's say you said something that was rude, and I said to you, shut up. The audience will still haven't be mad at me, because regardless whether I was right or not, the fact that I'm using a certain tone and I'm using certain words about a situation, okay, right, does not give that would automatically be ruling me in a particular way, and that's fine, that's fair. Because the way you speak and the way you talk about a situation, you have to govern yourself by a certain way. You don't get to speak anyhow anyway because you feel you're right. That is a problem we're having with these type of relationships between men and women. How dare you, not you, how dare you think you can speak to someone because you have the right anyhow anyway? That's what you're basically telling us. You're telling us right now that women can speak anyhow. If they feel they're right, they can speak to us anyhow because she was right. That's basically what you're saying.
No, you're giving a false equivalency. A
No,
better
not
example.
our situation. I'm saying about that situation. What you're
saying
concluding.
This will be the equal. I'm about to give you the equal. The
Go for it.
exact scenario would be getting on this platform and saying that I currently pussy pop on a handstand, I sleep with married men, and I have sex for money. And you respond to me, I think you're a whore. Well, guess what? Everything I just described is of a whore. You know what I'm saying?
How would you take that?
Well, you're not.
How would you
wrong.
take that? Because but the audience wouldn't take it that way. We wouldn't take it that
they
way.
should.
If I
They
called
should,
you out, no, they wouldn't do that. C-way. Don't.
then
You
they
can't be
shouldn't
disingenuous.
capture me.
They would
Don't
not
capture
take
me.
it that way.
They should.
would not
Though.
take it
That
that
would
way.
be being fair. But that would be fair.
If I called you a whore, C-way. In this generation, you're telling me if I called you a whore after you said you want a pussy pop, you want to go, okay, you would say, how dare you judge a woman about what she does with her body, what she wants to do with her body? If she wants to be sexually liberal, how dare you judge her? If I called her a whore, everybody on by my neck. We cannot, just because you feel you're right, just speak anyhow, anyway. You can't.
My point is, if I describe those things, and it's not just a pussy pop on a handstand. I'm talking about sleeping. I said sleeping with married men and having sex for money. Okay. Right? That would be by definition a whore. Not seeing your kid for 10 years is by definition a deadbeat. And the reason why I use that comparison is if I get on this, so I said, what is happening? If I get on this platform and I put my bull crap out there, I don't do that, by the way, which y'all should know. I put my bull crap out there for consumption and opinions. I can't turn around and be mad because you place an obvious label on the things that I just said. He literally put out that he was a deadbeat, and we're supposed to say, you're not supposed to call him a deadbeat. Well, that's what he is. He hasn't seen his kid in
Anyway, I got a prime example for you, right? God rest his soul. Kevin Samuels no longer with us, right? But women would call in his show and say the most delusional, ridiculous things, but people would get completely upset with him because he called them out. He called them delusional. There were some women that were on there that weren't attractive, and he told them they were not, and he said, you're not going to get the kind of man you want. And some of us could say, yeah, I kind of see his point, but he shouldn't have said it that way. And we spent trying to cancel this guy, right? And I'm not saying I agree with Kevin Samuels, but this is the same type of thing. Just because it's true, just because it's factual, doesn't give you license to say everything to everybody. And just because somebody does something you don't like, doesn't mean you get to lambaste them and say what you say and say however you feel about them, especially when there's no context to the relationship. This isn't your friend. This isn't somebody that you know. This is somebody you've just met. You've heard a few lines of what they've said, and you can see some wrong in it, and you're going to dress them down. No, we need to exercise caution. We have to think
John,
more.
I'm the wrong person. I'm the wrong person for the Kevin Samuels thing. Maybe that's for the other women in the comments. But I am very consistent if I am nothing else. I personally believe that the women that called Kevin Samuels soul, may he rest in peace, because I don't speak ill on the dead, and gave a whole bunch of delusional-esque things, could not turn around and be mad that he called them delusional. Because literally, the same thing with old dude. If you place yourself in the line of fire, you put out your BS, then we're supposed to be mad at Kevin Samuels because he says it's BS. That's his opinion. You called his show. Devin came to her with the BS. So she's not supposed to respond about him being a deadbeat. He came to her with the sob story. She didn't come to him the other way around. And someone is right. My example is even harsher than what she did because she never called him a name. She just explain to him that I think that what you're doing is effed up. So Sean, I'm consistent. Those women should not have been calling Kevin Samuels' show and then want to cry wolf and want to cry because he hurt their feelings. If you call somebody's show and you're 500 pounds and you say you want, I don't know, Morris Chestnut, well, you're delusional. You shouldn't have called his line. You shouldn't have hit his line.
He's right. Telling you what we all think. But that's another story. But that's the way. That's why I rock with you. And I said, because with that other show that you don't watch, Love and Marriage DC, or whatever. This is the same scenario with Winter and Ashley. All these other people, and I'm not going to sit here and call nobody out. Y'all call yourselves out when y'all leave the comments later on. I know you will. Y'all sit here and be on Team Winter because the tone that Ashley used when she questioned Winter about being a relationship therapist, yet having failed marriages and picking bad people for her life or whatever. It's the same tone that Ashley used, but everybody was on Ashley like Ashley did something wrong in that manner for questioning her. And I don't have no problem if you, like you say, you stand on your stance. I don't agree with sis on her approach on it or whatever. I don't really agree with Ashley on her approach. I would have had the same questions, but they probably would have been toned down a little bit more. I would definitely have went down the rabbit hole with him just to make him feel some type of way at the end about how your son feels. You know what I'm saying? That's me. But I don't, like I said when I started this, everybody don't think and move like I do. Mm-hmm. So sis had her approach to it, but what I see from sis coming down the road is that approach carries on to everything, to even the people that she cared about, because that approach right there for me would have been reserved for somebody I cared about. I don't do that for strangers. For strangers, I'm not even about to waste my energy with you. That's your life. That's you and God. Mm-hmm. But people I care about, I want you to get right with God. You need to go fix this. And you need to fix it fast. And that's the kind of energy she came with. Like, you need to do what you got to do. Now, I'm not saying she's wrong, because he need to go do what the hell he needs to do.
He's going to do, yeah.
Can you highlight Grace Mercy's comment?
What is wrong with you, girl? But was not successful.
That's Nelly. That's Ludacris head down. Which one is it?
Yeah, that's Ludacris.
Yeah.
Keep coming on the handstand. Yeah, but I mean, I don't disagree with you, C-Way. If that's just her, that's just her. But she's just gonna have to understand later down the line, that's gonna potentially turn a lot of men off from her. You know?
I agree. If she has that tone with everybody everywhere, I mean,
which she will.
Look, yeah,
and not because of anything. Because if you are so brave, I don't think you realize how brave this is. To first time meeting someone. Imagine the first time ever on a dating show, C-Way, you like you just said, imagine a girl describes her situation, and I say the first time I ever met you, oh, you're a bit of a whore then, isn't it? Exactly. It's absolute truth, right? You know, you've been a whore, you've been whoring yourself out, and I told you a whore
don't make it sound
on a
that
dating
bad.
show.
The British accent made it sound kind of cute.
I need to put more vim behind it. It's a little bit of a whore, haven't you? Should have put more oomph behind it. You know what I mean? I've made it too nice for her. But you know what I mean? It's like if it's the truth, you know, if I say that's the truth and I say that, well, you've been a bit of a whore then. You know what I mean? Then but that wouldn't be considered the right way to go about it, right? First and foremost, I should have pulled. The reason why I say that is because if you want to address someone about this as a touchy subject, pull them to the side, have a one-to-one. It wasn't one-to-one, right? Number two, compose yourself. Compose yourself, because the way you got angry about the situation, the way you addressed it, it says a lot about you too. You don't realize your response tells me about you. So while you may be saying, oh, because now I know you're the person that, well, when they're in truth, they have to say it. I say it how it is. I just say it how it is. Oh, you're one of those people that just say how it is. Yeah, okay, cool. Don't worry, man. Your time is coming. Don't worry. We ain't going to tell you nothing. We ain't going to tell you nothing from now on. Right? Man, them are going to stay away from you. And the way that people are responding in the chat tells me everything I need to know. If this is how you behave, I'm going to be very frank with you. I want to help some of you. Yeah, I want to help some of you. You can take a clip of what I'm about to say next to you and put me next to Kevin Summers if you want to. It's up to you. Listen, if you feel like you have the right to talk to someone about this because you feel you're right because he's a deadbeat, I'm telling you, if you're single now, there's a reason why you behave like this. No man's going to accept that. I'm going to be honest with you. We don't accept that. It's that simple. Quote me if you want to quote me. Clip me if you want to clip me. I'm so sorry. I have to tell you the truth. I want to save some of you, because some of you are really entitled about how you address people. You think because it's a man and because the situation, yes, he's a deadbeat. We all agree. Time, season, relationship, know where to address the situation. That's what wisdom is. You lack wisdom if you're going to just say it anyhow, anyway, without really deepening who's around you, right? If you don't deep who's around you and who's listening to that conversation, you're moving mad. Yes, they're calling me mad. They're saying that I'm moving mad. Let me move mad today. Let me move mad today.
You plotted
okay?
to move
Yes,
mad.
I sound crazy. Yes, I sound crazy. Right? When I'm giving you the raw truth, suddenly I'm crazy. But when the girl was giving the truth, you felt no way about it. She's right. She's right. She's right. You're riding for her. When I'm giving the truth, suddenly I'm mad. I'm crazy. That's what we're talking about. Judgments. And so you have to know what your environment is when you're delivering a certain message. If you don't know what environment you're in, you got cameras around you. We're going to watch it. The people around you would have probably noticed that conversation was going on. You are right in what she said. What she said was right. We agree. We've all agreed. The men have agreed. It just wasn't the right time to address it in that way. Pull him aside, have a conversation, get to really know him. Like, yo, bro, like, what I heard was kind of mad. I'm going to be honest with you, right? And I'm going to be honest with you. I think that you need to start doing illegal proceedings. All right, cool. You pulled him aside, had a conversation. No, instead, you just said it anyhow in the moment when the brother was telling his story. And you could tell by the way he was responding, it was even awkward and hurtful at that moment. You know what I mean? So yeah, listen, I'm gonna tell you straight. If you feel that you have right to say to somebody when you just met them, you can say anyhow, anyway to the person. I'm telling you now, listen, us men are watching you and we are not agreeing with that behavior. We're leaving you alone. And you're carrying that energy as well. You carry that energy. That's what I'm trying to tell you. Some of you don't realize you carry that energy. Quote me. I know you're gonna quote me. Quote me. Let it be quotable. Some of you are carrying that energy.
And Kojo, and just to piggyback on that, Seaway, since you love Charlemagne, right? He also says you can't choose how people react, right? So you can say whatever you want to somebody, but you can't choose how you're going to react. And you say the right thing to the wrong person, and you're going to get a different kind of reaction. So that's what you also need to be in full thought of, is how is this person going to react to the information that I'm delivering? And the information that she was delivering is information that could be equally triggering for the recipient. Fortunately, he didn't handle it in a different kind of way. But again, yeah, you have every right to say what you want. And anybody in the audience, if you feel like somebody does wrong, you have every right. We have free speech, and you can speak that to whomever you want, but you also are not in control of how that person reacts to you and how they receive that information. So just be mindful of that. Be mindful of, listen, yeah, you can go off, and if you want to be the, caller out of all wrongdoings, do it, but just know you're not in control of how that person's going to react to you and how they receive what you're saying.
Sure ain't. So if he would have popped off and they would have got to tussling down at the pool party, then that would have been a part of it. She still had a right to say what she said.
But that's not what we're disagreeing on.
No, you're disagreeing. You're saying that you wouldn't be bothered with her because she don't know how to just, keep it cute and mind her manners.
Yeah,
you want your gal them to, that's how you say it. You want them to mind their manners and be seen and not heard.
No, let me clear this up as well. Let me clear this up as well. Whatever I'm asking of you, I'm also requesting of myself. Listen, if I meet Sean for the first time, he tells me a mad story, I don't just tell my judgment straight at Sean. If I truly care about the person, I temper how I speak to somebody. The mere fact that people don't realize and not even deep in this is scaring me. If you don't realize that when you speak to someone for the first time, you don't know how to temper your opinion and wait and choose the right time to talk to someone about certain topics, tells me you have no sensitivity and awareness. How can you think you have the right? In fact, you can do that, but you go and see what the consequences are. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? You go and see what the consequences are, right? This is a dating show. You want the men. It's like, you want the man. You want men to come after you and want you, right? Well, if you behave that way, how do you expect us to want to be around you? As men, we're telling you, like, look, that when you do that, we see it and we go, we can't trust that you're gonna have decorum with us. Can't, right? So the same thing, I would expect the exact same thing for myself too. I'm not going to start popping off and telling you what it is when I first just met you either. It's not a one-way thing. It's not a double standard thing. This is a two-way thing. both parties should be adhering to this. Like, I've just met you. Let me at least get to know you a little bit first and make my judgments. And I'll give you my last thing before I let anyone else jump in. My last thing is this. I remember one time I was on Twitter. This is my early days when I got saved and I was a Christian. Early days of Christian. I was very fiery. You know what I mean? Whenever I saw anything, I wanted to address it. One girl tweeted something. She said she was a Christian. She tweeted something that was mad. I think it was about something crazy. I don't know, about something about sex or whatever, right? And I was like, I entered into her DMs. I've never spoke to this girl. I entered into her DMs and I was like, you call yourself a Christian? Look what you're saying. How can this be Christianity? I was right. How can it be Christianity? But you know what she told me? Who the fuck are you? Who the fuck are you to tell me anything? Right? Relationship done. I can now not go to that person again. You see, the right, being right doesn't give you the right just to say whatever you want to say. There must be wisdom in approaching things. Do you get what I'm saying? So I'm just saying to you guys, have tact. We're not saying she lied. We're saying that she was right, and we all agree. But please, when you address certain things, have tact. This is why you're on this channel, because we have tact when we talk to each other, right? We're not out here slinging and cussing each other and saying anything how we want to say it, whether we feel it's true or not. We address each other as human beings, and we try to have an emotional intelligence when we address each other and care about how someone might receive the message. Me and Sean have been on the other end of things. When you guys say something, we're like, we don't believe that. Da-da-da. Oh, you and Sean are like this. I'm like, bro, that's how we think. But when we think that way, we're Kevin Samuels labels. When we think we're right, and that's what our opinion, we're labeled as something. And yet we're saying right now, in this particular way, when you address something in a particular way, we're saying to you, you don't have the right to say anything you want. You should temper the way you address certain things. You know what I'm saying? So I don't know if anyone has any last thoughts on that part before I move it on. Last view of it. Chris Naffer, you just jumped. I'm so sorry. You got dumped into this one like, yo, it was wild, bro. Like, you know what I mean? You get me?
Wow. What a very spirited conversation. Hi, everybody.
Hey, Chris.
Hi, good to be here with you all.
Don't you in this thing,
so I have to say this. I do want to say this. It's going to upset the ladies. I agree with the men. So you guys are going to get so upset with me. It's okay. We're all different. I can be feisty, but I don't have that temperament. Similar to what Jay said, if I don't care about you, I don't give you energy. I manage it. I just don't. I would just X him out of my mind as somebody I would want to get to know, right? Because I'm like, oh, I don't date deadbeats, right? And so then I would move on. That's me. Now, a lot of people in the chat are saying that's her temperament. That's tactful to her. That doesn't work in the real world. I know. You guys don't get upset. But you really can't come at people any way you want because you think you're keeping it real. I know. But that's the truth. You can't. We all agree he is wrong. So we're not arguing that. I know that we're going back and forth in the chat. We're not arguing that he is wrong. However, the energy was a bit much to me, right? So that's my perspective. I wouldn't give him that much energy. I would just be like, he's not the one. In terms of talking to him about it, I personally agree with Kojo. I would talk to him about it to the side or let him know, like, you need to handle that. But I would still X him out as somebody I would want to date because I believe the way you do anything is the way you do everything. So that's my opinion. But like I said, I know people in the chat are so pissed, so frustrated. But you can't pop off because that's how you are. You're telling the truth and you're keeping it real. You know, like we have to get to a place where we can express ourselves without feeling like we get to disrespect people. I'm not perfect. I've done it before, but it doesn't make it right. So those are my thoughts about deadbeat Devin.
Wait, can you repeat that quote you said about anything and everything?
The way you do anything is the way you do everything.
Mm-hmm.
So that's all I wanted to say about that.
Love that. No, listen, and listen. If you're new to the channel as well, listen. Then you're probably new to our debates. We have these debates like this, man. So we go back and forth with trade. people will apologize later on after saying that maybe they thought about it again, maybe they weren't right. We all have those moments. Listen, we've been there. That's why I always quote me and Sean, because you know what, we've been there, bro. You know what I mean? We've been there. So listen, if you're new to the channel, listen, this is what we do. We have conversations. Sometimes we have debates. You know what I'm saying? So and the audience sometimes throw oranges at us as well. We enjoy it. It's fun at the end of the day. Do you know what I mean? No hard feelings on this end. All right, listen, next one. Because devious Devon has divided us. Let's come back to something that hopefully will bring us back together again. Let's talk about Charisse. Okay,
We were looking for love. Loosen up a little bit. You're a strong personality.
Isn't that good?
Charisse. What's our thoughts to Charisse, people? Chris, let me get you back in on this one because I know you're new here. So, what's your thoughts on Charisse? You know, this episode. You know,
My turn. Charisse is a mean girl. She's a mean girl. There's no reason to already have issues picking on people, calling out people's hair, all this stuff. You don't have to be best friends, right? You don't go on this show to get all these girlfriends. Now, if you make some, cool. I think it's always good to have an alliance in some way, or at least like be cool, but you don't have to tear people down to get the man that you want or to stand out. It's just not necessary. And that's like bad energy. I remember one of the guys said that they liked that she was mean. Okay. Like that. No, I personally, she would not be a girlfriend of mine. She's a mean girl, I feel.
I hear that 100%. Thank you very much, Chris. Mean girl, Charisse. Okay. V, what's your thoughts? Good to have you back here. V, what's your thoughts on Charisse? Charisse.
I did not like her at all. Not even a little bit. She was very nasty, mean for no reason. She really gave me Evelyn Lozada. That's all I saw on the screen when she was talking. That's what she looked like to me. She might be just giving us a lot of TV. Like she might be doing this for TV and boosting it up. But the way she was talking about Dominica and like she felt free to talk badly like that around other people means that she does this every day. This is how she is. So I did not like her at all.
Okay. Interesting. JR, what are you saying?
I was going to say that just like V just said, it's similar to what we were just talking about, right? And similar to what Chris said, if you're liable to say anything, then you can say everything or whatever, right? And I think she came across as very insecure. Like just looking at her from a visual, she seems, I'm not throwing any shade or anything, but she seems to have had a lot of work done. There may be some insecurities there, and that may drive the competitiveness that she may have when she's calling out Dominica and in a few of the other people on the show. So for me, definitely mean-spirited. Devin saved her bacon, I think, when he gave her that one like, whereas all the other guys pretty much was like, nah, they've seen enough already. But yeah, she definitely doesn't come across as someone who's gonna gel with many of the women on the show. But obviously when she defended Devin from the tirade that he got, then that endeared her in his eyes. So but that's it, without that one like from Devin, I think she could have possibly gone home much to her surprise, might I add.
Yeah, exactly. Much to her surprise indeed. Yeah, I definitely hear that as well. Seaway, what's your thoughts to Charisse? I kind of like Charisse, I ain't gonna lie to you. She just tells it as it is, truth all around. Both women and men get it. You know what I'm saying? Why not? Tell people what they think about them straight when you see them. Close your legs. If you need to tell the truth, tell the truth. What's the problem behind it? Go on, Seaway. I'm petty tonight, but go for it. I'm so sorry. You're not gonna petty me.
I shouldn't even entertain that. Actually, I think I'm not.
I'm sorry. Go and see that.
Yeah, I'm not gonna entertain that. But and I really don't want to entertain Sharice, to be honest. I don't want to give her too much energy, except for the fact that she was a pick me to deadbeat Devin. That was like her first red flag. And it's giving featurist, texturist, and colorist, and she really needs to understand that she's barely on this show. Ready to Love really promotes the brown skin baddies, and she's on here, and then the first episode, and she's talking about people's hair and their legs being open unprovoked, which is the biggest difference. Completely unprovoked and uncalled for. That lady wasn't even bothering her. She was minding her business someplace else, and she's talking about her. Yeah, it's giving Mean Girl. It's giving petty. And I like how life humbled her literally within seconds, because the same woman she was talking about, she was in the bottom with, which I feel like was just uncanny irony. That was like the best irony and the best karma that I think any of us could have asked for. And I also think that she's going to be really caught off guard when she's not the pretty one in the room. It seems like she's used to being the quote unquote pretty one, and there's lots of women on this show who will upstage her. And where I got the colorist or texturist or whatever you want to call it is, why every single time she's getting into it, she's talking about a black woman's hair and wigs and weaves and things.
fair enough.
Like, that reminds me of something that a non-black person, like a black woman doesn't go to another black woman and fix your wig. Like, it's just a weird thing. It's just a really weird thing. And it's a Eurocentric, from a Eurocentric standpoint, where she feels like she could come at a black woman like that. I personally just didn't care for it. So yeah, she can go, because her energy is stank, and if they have her being the villain for the sake of the show, I mean, she pulled a short straw, because that's just not a good look.
I definitely hear on that. I agree with you 100%. But I need her Sharice to be in there so that she can keep rank on Cadian, because clearly Cadian's your lost champion. So Sharice, keep on going, sis. Keep on going. Go on and keep on going. Cadian needs to know that someone else can also talk the truth as well. All right, go for Chris Natha.
You're gonna be crying in the car tomorrow.
12 o'clock sharp, 7 a.m. CST time. Alive, guys. I'm sorry. I'm gonna be apologizing tomorrow. Chris Natha, talk to me. What are you saying?
Well, I already shared about Sharice.
Okay.
Yeah, I called her a mean girl, so I did already share about her. But yeah, I look forward to seeing what happens during the season. This is Miami, so let's see. But there's definitely some insecurities there, I feel, just based on how she presented herself in the last episode.
Okay, fair. All right, you Chris. Nice and short and sweet. All right, cool. Sean, Yoni. Talk to me. That sounds very wrong. Sorry. Sean.
Pause.
All pauses in the world, boy. Every button needs to be paused. What the heck was that? Sorry, bro. I apologize.
Accepted.
What's your thoughts on Sharice?
Yeah, I think, listen, she's got to be real careful when you start nitpicking and, calling out, the lady's looks. It just becomes a wrong road. You know what I mean? I think, and that's another thing we've seen in past seasons where women start talking about, this and that about themselves. You had Carmen last season talking about, Takia's body, or talking about her hair is real. It's like, you don't have to tear people down to build yourself up, and that's when I kind of like look at her sideways, right? And she also has an RBF too, so all those things together just don't make her, pretty much attractive to me. But let's see what else. But I definitely can see the mean girl vibes. I can see, you know, the cattiness of trying to like tear the other ladies down to like put herself up on a pedestal. So that's my thoughts about Charisse.
Love that, Sean. Thank you very much. Jay, what's your thoughts on Charisse?
I'm here with Seaway on this one. I'm definitely getting like colorist vibes. I'm not going to call her one because she is the only light bright on the season right now. So I can't compare how she would act if there was somebody else there, if she would carry the same energy with them the same way as that. But definitely she's giving the vibe of somebody that deems herself better because of either complexion, hair, or whatnot. There's no reason, if I'm secure, for me to worry about or be concerned with how another lady moves or act, and especially in competition form with the men. That's their decision. And like she said, I'm not here for the men. So why are you even worried about what this woman is over here doing? Worry about what the man is doing. You know, like, why are we focused on her? I come from a family of loud people. So the loudness is not really a problem for me, but I do get some other people where they are just like all out, just drawing attention to themselves. It can be a little bit annoying, but that's you. Clearly the men weren't too appealed by it themselves because Dominica ended up at the bottom herself. But you rightfully ended up at the bottom because you're catty, you're childish, you're insecure. And you obviously is not all that because the man is like, loosen up a little bit. You're hard. So your hardness is more of an insecurity that the men is even picking up on. And nobody wants to deal with that. Would you say to Kojo, we not fixing people in 2022? You know what I'm saying? Because with your stuff ready. They're not trying to fix you. They're not trying to work on you. They don't want a project. They came here to have something that's already put together. You come across put together when you first walk in, but as you continue to talk, it's breaking it down. We see your wall. You see all of your slip is showing and your wall is falling. Like, focus on you, be about you, stay in your lane, and stop worrying about what this woman is over here doing with her legs open, closed, her hair, however it is. Let the men dissect her. That's their job, not yours. Unless you're trying to be with her.
We're hearing that 100%.
Oh, and one last thing, it is like you're saying to other ladies, should I go talk to her or whatever and stuff like that. If that was really your goal to help sis out, you would have pulled her to the side. Went to had a bathroom sidebar off camera, whatever, and say, hey, look, let me fix your thing. You know, maybe it's not ladylike to sit with your legs so wide open, but we had a side of a pool. Who don't sit like this on the side of the pool, swinging their legs up in the daggone water? Like, leave me alone. I would have told her leave me alone, but she, of course, Dominica didn't hear none of it. But you know, good for her.
I hear that 100%. Tia B, welcome to the conversation. We're talking about Charisse. Good to have you on here.
Now, is Charisse the light-skinned one? I'm just, no colorism here.
Yeah, Charisse is the last one.
Oh, gosh, the mean girl, yes. Oh, this is a long time coming. What's up? How y'all doing?
What's good? You're right, yeah? Pleasure to have you.
Oh, my goodness. I love you, Jay. That's my girl. I just love you. I just wanted to tell you, girl, I love you.
Oh.
I'm agreeing with everything, JB. I'm being the back of like, Jay, say it for me, because I'm not one. Because I be driving most of the time. I've been trying to get on him forever for every season and Married at First Sight. Oh, my God.
We appreciate it.
But yeah, I can't do the mean girl stuff this season. They doing it. Somebody said something earlier about she's reminding them of, was it Carmen? Who was DC with the Brown Girl Squad? But she was not. Yeah, she's acting like that crew. She's a little.
Oh, okay.
And the young man said at JRX TV, it's the insecurity for me. It was reeking through the screen. It was like, hi, I got a sign. I'm insecure. She was walking around with the sign. Embarrassing. I was embarrassed for her. I said, I hope they didn't put her up to it. And she's like, oh, this is going to get me fame. I hope not. Negative fame.
I'm hearing that. Appreciate it. You know what? I'll be honest with you. You know, I don't like Charisse. I'll be honest with you. I was just winding. I mean, Petty. I actually don't like Charisse. I don't like her attitude. I see it as very elitist. And I don't like that attitude when you got a snobbish kind of air to you. And so for me, just the way she dealt with Dominica, I just thought it was just like real bullyish kind of, do you know what I mean? Like a whole girl sitting there talking to another man and, you know, has done nothing to you apart from be herself. And her being herself has triggered you to now want to make comments about her to the other girls to try and to belittle her. And it's like, you know, it's that for me is just, it's poisonous, man. And if you can do that to your fellow sisters, I'm talking about, you know, if you can do it to fellow sisters, like for Mandem, the same thing. If we saw a Mandem doing that, that's excommunication right there, bro. Like we can't trust you to be part of the man crew if you're out here poisoning brothers. You know what I'm saying? So if you're willing to poison one of your own and just say those terrible things about someone you have barely even met, you know what I mean? Like for me, that's just nasty. I don't like that, and that's going to carry. Just like I said about Caden, it's going to carry. There's no way you drop that first time and that's not you. That's you. That's you. Yeah, you didn't have a moment. That's you. And you're going to continue that probably forward into other relationships and other areas of your life. So for me, I don't particularly like Sharice's energy at all. Someone said, remember your future interview with Sharice. I will say why I feel she should come on here and defend herself. It's an ugly spirit when you do that kind of thing. Yeah, it's an ugly spirit. You can't be saying and calling saying, you know, first of all, close legs, but that she was actually what did she say about is that her real name or stage name, Dominica? Like, do you know how rude that is? Like, do you know how rude that is? As the person who's talking to someone else, you know, you're insulting them as they're talking to someone else and trying to instigate other people to also laugh along with your jokes with you. You know what I mean? That's a whole lot of meanness that don't need it. And it did remind me of Carmen from last season. Unnecessary comments. I got my real hair. And no matter how you play it, bruv, like you said that to try and incite that other people don't have their real hair. You are trying to compare yourself to other people and you're trying to bring that person down so you can be raised high. That's just it's not cute at all. I don't like that at all. And I don't think that was pretty. I don't think that was cute. And I'm disappointed that you at this grown age we're still doing those kind of tactics. You know what I mean? You don't have to do that to promote yourself. You know, she's a pretty girl. If she has a, you know, pretty girl, you need to have a pretty spirit, but your spirit right now is kind of ugly. I'm gonna be honest with you. It's dark. You know what I mean? And I'm gonna need sis to fix up on that. You know what I mean? And don't call that editing, because if you call that editing, I'm gonna get vexed. I'm just gonna be annoyed. It's not editing. It's you. Like, own it, accept it, and then address it, and then apologize for it, and then just say I'm come to do better. I'm gonna learn from it. You know what I mean? Nothing else. That's it. No more thingy. I think I've actually got the clip of that when she did it to Diamond. I think I've got the clip somewhere. Maybe I don't have it. Yeah.
Her a chance. I'm giving a man a chance. I'm not giving a woman a chance.
Sharice, I thought I was a bitch, but the first day you're talking.
That was actually a different part of the kit. I was slightly late, but she said she's not giving no woman a chance. She doesn't give men a chance. I said, oh, Lord of mercy. All right, last one, because our time is running out now. Last one clip we are doing. Let me just play this one more time. Can I play this one more time?
And baby girl, I hope you got the feeling. Vision's blurred, but all I see is you. And as I'm looking at Shakira in the...
I'm telling you, I'm going to be using it as a meme from now on, guys.
Coach, you got to redo it. You got to sing it now.
I will sing when we do RTL introductions from now on.
No, you gotta mix it. That's what you gotta do.
Feeling. We have to get LJ to do a live version. That song was slapping differently. We appreciate that song. You know what I mean? I appreciate him.
Stay away from them powdered donuts, please, bro.
Song of 2022.
Come on, baby. Come on, baby. Last one is going to be about Samson. So I want to get you guys' thoughts on this, and then we'll run the show. And
went home to Shakira. I like how she speaks about her son. You have any kids? It's not yet, but if she wants to have a child, then I'm gonna hook it up.
What's our thoughts on Samson? I know Randall was actually there. I forgot to add him, but what's our thoughts on Samson as our last conversational piece? What did you gather from Samson? I know he was having a conversation about Looney there as well. Is it Looney or Luna? Looney? Yeah. What's our thoughts? What do you think, Seaway? You put your thumbs up. What does that mean?
I like Samson. From what I can see. I liked his conversation. Wasn't he the one talking to Looney?
Yeah.
Yeah, I thought they had an adorable conversation. It seemed lighthearted and fluffy and airy. I don't know. Samson he seems cool so far. he seems like a guy that you should be interested in. Like he's not like playing around. So we'll see. You know, I don't want to get my hopes up and I'd be wrong. But I liked him, and then the other guy I really liked too, the one you just mentioned. With the
Randall,
with Randall, yeah, I like
yeah,
them.
he's a good guy. He's a good guy. Tia B, what's your thoughts on Samson?
Corny.
Oh, okay. Corny.
I'm
Okay.
just-
JR nodding his head too. Why,
I mean,
why do
you
you think
gotta
corny?
see the Baltimore dog. Yeah, I mean, I'm from Baltimore. He might not have enough cuts and bruises. It's you know, you gotta give me this disclaimer. But no, I'm gonna see. My spirit is telling me something gonna pop off later. Because he's too. It just seems too good. Like too soon. I'm gonna just see. I don't know yet. I don't know yet. Yeah, we're gonna see. I think he a little corny myself. I like thugs.
Okay. Well, I hear you. Nothing wrong with that at all. Nothing wrong with it at all. Really appreciate that, sis. I appreciate that as well. Preference is cool. V, what's your thoughts? What's your thoughts on Samson? Winner?
When he first walked up and he said he wanted to be pursued, I almost changed the channel. But but after that, he seems to be kind of nice and positive, and he really seems smitten with Looney. He says he wants to be pursued, but he's definitely pursuing the way he's conversing with the ladies that are there. So he may just be saying that his actions didn't match his words. So, but yeah, when he stepped out and he said that, it was over for me. But but I think he's cool. He's all right. We'll see.
Okay, cool. I'm hearing that. Really love that. Chris Nathan, what's your thoughts to Samson? You think he's cool? You think he's good? What'd you get from it? Oh, sorry, you're on mute. You're on mute, Chris. Go for it.
Sorry about that. When I first saw him on the screen, I was like, okay, it's a cool looking guy. You know, this may be something promising. But then he mentioned he liked to be pursued. So that definitely was a flag for me because I don't pursue men. So me personally, I was like, But I like his demeanor so far. It's kind of early, so I might have to change my position later. But so far, I like his vibe. He seems down to earth, seems cool. But I don't know if that's just pursue me vibes or that's just his personality. But when he said that, it was a turnoff for me. But I also like his vibe. So I look forward to seeing what happens between him and Looney or him and someone else. So
Love that. Thank you very much, Chris Nathan. JR, what's your thoughts to Samson? You also was nodding your head when Tia B was saying corny. So what's your thoughts to Samson? Oh, I need to unmute you. My bad, bro. Go for it.
Yeah, I think from the clip you just showed how corny he is, man. Because in that deliberation, he's talking about, she's got a son already, and I don't mind giving her one. Man, dude, we just had a full-blown conversation about deadbeat dads and what. Listen, don't lead with wanting to have a kid with the girl. I know you didn't say it to her directly, and I know you probably said it in jest, but I just think he's gonna give off kind of like the Clifton from last season's vibes, big red teddy bear, and I also think that Looney, who he seems to have the best connection with, or the most frequent connection that we saw on the show from the first episode, I think there could be some potential building blocks there. There wasn't any red flags. There wasn't anything that immediately raised eyebrows. So, yeah, I definitely think he's another one that the ladies might gravitate towards. But he has to be careful with his words. I said that about Clifton last season. He has to be careful with what he says to each lady, otherwise he might end up in trouble.
Thank you very much, Jay. I appreciate that. Jay.
I'm not going to ride Baby Suge Knight off just yet. I'm not gonna, I'm not gonna write him off just yet, but I'm gonna side eye him for a couple of reasons. One, you came in here, you was talking about how you want a woman, you prefer brains over Botox, but then you also want a woman with a 245. She got to have some curves and all these things like this. Like, I'm confused on what you want. Okay. If you want just a natural body, please just say you want a natural body, a natural curvy body. Okay. I would respect that more so than saying you want brains over Botox. Not everybody got Botox. Some women out here actually got natural curves. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, what are you talking about right now? You want the brains, but if she comes with the body, you're gonna overlook that. You're already telling me that your picker is off because you want a woman to pursue you more or first before you pursue her. That means in your past, you've been pursuing women that is unattainable to you or women that don't want you. And that's why you come to this conclusion that let me make sure she wants me first before I pursue her. Good luck, bro, because most women is not about to pursue you. You looking for a unicorn. You looking for that 1 in 99,000 that's actually going to do it. And the ones that pursue people, they're pursuing that 6-figure, 6-pack, 6-foot man. That's what they're pursuing. There's some women that like big men, just like there's some men that like big women, but you can't be choosy in that. If she come with a small waist and no behind her, you might just be happy because she's pursuing you first. You better pursue her back. Don't lose your options. Don't cancel yourself out on some love out here trying to wait for some curves. So we'll see. It's like I said, I'm not going to rule him out because we're going to see if he start picking brains over bronze as we go forward. But right now, I'm side-eyeing him.
That's fair, Jay. I hear you. Fair enough. Sean, what's your thoughts on Samson?
Yeah, I kind of, I see what everybody is saying. I think the interesting thing that he, comes with too is his dad was Persian. So I don't know how much of those cultural kind of, what am I trying to say? Like, what comes with that culture is he carrying through? Because I think he said his father passed away early. So I don't know if he had a relationship, because if he did, that's going to be interesting to see how he relates with the women. The other part, he did talk about curves. Listen, that's his preference. We talk about preference all the time, right? So his preference is 2, 4, and 5. What did he say? I've never heard that. All those numbers put together. I have never in all my years heard nobody talk about no 2, no 4, and no 5. So I don't know what that means, but I guess he knows what it means, and he knows what it is when he sees it. But then he was asking this kind of question about a thick heart, which another thing, I didn't understand where he was going with that question when he was sitting with the young lady. I don't know her name. She had really nice braids. That's the only thing.
Looney.
What is it?
Looney.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, and then they were talking about how quick do you leave? So I'm like, what does that mean? Are you saying that, women have left you often in relationships, so you don't want to be left? Is that a trigger for you? Why were they leaving? What were you doing that was contributing to them leaving? Is it the slightest things? I mean, look, I think most women would sign off on saying a lot of women are, long suffering in relationships unless you're doing, wildness before they're going to just cut you off. So for me, I'm like, what was he getting at with that point? And when he asked her, and then Looney's response was even more concerning, because she was like, she stays in relationships too long. Well, why are you trying to sell yourself on staying someplace where you're probably not wanted? Because you are not able to read the room when it's time to leave. So that's not a selling point. Wouldn't be a selling point to me. And if he's looking for a selling point and he wants someone to be long suffering, what work are you doing on yourself to work on whatever issues that have been brought to your attention in relationships? So those are my thoughts.
I'm hearing you guys. Listen, it's been a good conversation, you know. I've enjoyed talking about Ready to Love with you guys. We'll have episode 2 back on Saturday, so we'll be back on the normal times on Saturday. What's today? Wednesday, isn't it? Yeah, because unfortunately, I know this clashes with Married at First Sight, so really appreciate you guys dropping on here, because I know Married at First Sight at the same time. But listen, audience members, it's been really good. But before I go anywhere, I'm going to let Sean do what he does best, which is give us the benediction, and then we will head out. Talk to us, Sean.
So, folks, we had an enlightening discussion. We agreed, we disagreed, but I think at the end of the day, I think when we think about communication, the message should be not just from the messenger, but to the recipient. So, know your audience, know who the message is going to, know if it's worth your energy, worth your time, worth the effort, right? So, before you exert your energy on someone, is it about you, or is it about them, or is it even worth it, right? Because, again, we do have free speech, but we also don't have control on how people respond to what we say, right? And we all want to be safe, right? We don't want to be in harm's way. So we should consider our audience before we share our thoughts and our words. And we can agree and we can disagree, and it's okay. I think we had a wonderful discussion tonight. I think in relationships, be open to hearing the other side, seek understanding. And I think we did a great job of exhibiting that tonight. So God bless. And I turn it back to you, Coach.
Love, Sean. Thank you. Audience members, thank you as well, man. Listen, that was a good battle. I like that. I love that we can battle, laugh, and enjoy, man, the convo. Do you know what I mean? So, you know, your banter was good today. You lot got me good, you know, today. And I appreciate that, you know. Shout out to you guys as well, because, you know, honestly, you make the conversation much more interesting. You know what I mean? When we have disagreements, when we have different points of view, you know, you guys are respectful with your opinions, and I appreciate that. As well. So next week, like I said, this week we're back on Saturday. We're back with Ready to Love episode 2. Can promise you it's going to be all types of mayhem going on. So you're going to really enjoy. And to my panelists as well, Sean, Jay, JR, Seaway, Chris, V, Tia, appreciate you guys for jumping aboard tonight and sharing your thoughts as well. Listen, be careful out there, guys, okay? All right? Be careful out there, all right? What you say, someone could be listening, but you know what? I don't want to end on that. I want to end on a nice, fun, high note, okay?
Wait, before you do,
right?
Reminder, it's deadbeat season. It's deadbeat season, baby.
Not that it's deadbeat season. Oh, gracious kings. Please, guys, if you've got deadbeats in your life, leave them alone. Let them be, okay? Let them be, okay? I mean, if you want to check him. It's up to you guys. It's not my business. But listen, I'm going to leave you on a high note. I'm going to leave you on this good note, okay? All right? Because, baby, I got this feeling. Okay, we're going to be singing. This is going to be a national anthem for Ready to Love very soon. I'm telling you guys, it'll be remixed very soon. He will be making some coins from this, okay? It's catchy. I can see Simon Cowell making this a great song as well, and BGT as well. So let's end the night on good festivities.
And baby girl,